What's going on, guys? Good to see you. Hope you are well. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Happy
What up?
Wednesday, right?
Wednesday?
Wednesday tonight? All right, we're going with that tonight. Happy Wednesday.
Hump day.
Happy hump day to you guys all. Welcome on board PB&J, episode 3 of the Streamcast. Happy to have you here. Of course, myself, Brad M. In your lower right corner, we have John Fly. In your lower left corner, in the left corner, out of Fargo, nowhere, Grand Forks.
There it is.
Same thing. Out of Grand Forks, North Dakota, weighing in at 115 pounds.
Soaking wet. Thank you.
Soaking wet. By the way, why is your maybe your browser source is a bit? We'll get you fixed up. There you go. There you go. Sorry, the crop was bad, but we're good now. And of course, in the beautiful background, we have LAX featuring some wonderful live traffic this evening, guys. We have some beautiful Active Sky Open Beta for Service Pack 1, in addition to the live traffic plugin giving us that beautiful, sweet visuals tonight. So just so you know, if the planes crash, if they go the wrong direction, that's not my fault, all right? It's the same thing. You know how, guys, you know how it goes, all right? So that's the deal tonight, all right? Don't complain. So, without further ado, we have some questions to get to. They're coming through already. If you guys are curious, you can use this command right here. Follow that link to get you the question form to fill out anything you possibly need. But they're stacking up already. So, we will hand it over to our host this evening. I'm not sure who it is, but one of you guys will nominate yourselves. Let's hear it. Who is it?
Well, both of us, right?
All right, both of you. All right.
Raise your hand, Puck.
Find something?
Thanks for coming to the Brad M Show. Really appreciate having you guys here.
The Brad M Show.
I just want to say, I think you look amazing floating in the sky.
I think so. I think maybe it presents me as like a, you know, a godly figure.
Yeah,
Of
it's
sorts.
like you're speaking to your disciples.
I
Yeah,
am
something.
greater than you, John. And Puck, I'm sick of you. All right, stop cooking your mac and cheese
I'm gonna
with
reach up
milk. I'm sick of it,
There.
and it's over. It's done. No more of it.
I'm actually a little bit hurt by that. So, first question.
Sorry, I had to get that out of the way.
First question for you, Brad.
Yeah,
1 or 2 pieces of bread?
definitely one. Keeping the carbs light, keeping the slim figure. You know how it goes, right? Pizza Thursday, we load up on the carbs. 2 pieces of bread, it's not good. Unless there's a lot of fiber, then it's okay. Next question, please.
I'll go with that. I'll go 2, and if I'm not lazy, I'll cut off the edges.
You're an Uncrustable kind of guy, John?
Yeah,
Uncrustable.
no crust.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
What are those? What were those? Oh, I forgot what they're called. They're like-
Uncrustables.
yes, the PB&J ones, right? The
Mhm,
Uncrustables. Those are so good.
Mind is blown, huh? Look at that.
Yeah, 2. I'm a little. I like to lay on the calories. So
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep, you bet your bottom dollar.
Thank you, Chandler FPS, for that beautiful question.
Yes, absolutely. That was crucial to start the evening off this evening. So we'll continue on. We have a question to get us right out of the gate, get us going. It is, what is our favorite X-Plane 11 model? Maybe we should preface this, guys. How was your week so far? It's Wednesday. What's the highlight? It's hump day.
Two highlights for me. One, I got to watch Brad in the Delta 213 pit this last week,
that was pretty cool.
and I got to group fly with Brad and company today on
That was
Pilot
awesome.
in a Bell 429, and that was seriously one of the funnest streams and funnest flights of a year worth. So that's how the week's been going for me so far.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to beat that. It's so my week has been going as follows. Monday was cold. Tuesday, cold. Today today's low was negative 33 Fahrenheit, negative 63 wind chill. It's currently negative 23.
Oof.
So class was canceled yesterday and
Yeah.
today and late tomorrow. Yeah, it's been a good week. I've been able to sit at my computer and do absolutely nothing.
There's nothing better in the world.
I was in my jammies until 3. Went out to the airport, changed some seals on the airplane, came back, and now I'm here with these two beautiful gentlemen.
Those are the Navy
and,
SEAls that you bring on the aircraft, right? By the way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're gonna have
You had to
those.
change.
You figure, right? Up in North Dakota, they got a
Mhm.
Minot. That's a big base up there. You know how that goes.
Yes,
Yep.
Minot is huge.
Yep. So, also to preface the question of what's our favorite model is, what are we all drinking tonight? In addition to what do we have for dinner?
Great question.
Great
Yeah.
question.
So I'm having a Dragonberry Bacardi and Coke.
Ooh.
Dragonberry
Yeah.
Bacardi and Coke.
That's good.
And
It's fruity,
to be
but
honest, as far as
flavor.
dinner, I've only had a chocolate chip cookie so far. So there might be food delivered on, across into my hands later. I hope.
That's gonna hit you like a 429, John.
It's gonna hit me like a 429. Exactly.
429. Oh.
How about you, Puck? What do you
Hey,
drink?
Puck, what are you
Something
having this
inside.
evening?
Well, I am actually trying out something. I'm trying out what's called space dust. It's
The kids are doing these
very-
days?
Sorry, I thought I heard somebody break in.
What?
Yes. No, it's really good. It's very hoppy. It's high alcohol content, but it's
Yeah.
very, very good beer.
I
also,
bet.
Also, Brad was giving me a little bit of crap today, and I'm starting off Pizza Thursday very early
Ooh.
because I have not had
Ooh. anything
anything to eat all day, and I'm starving. So, like John, needed to have something.
That look from us.
Yeah.
Brad above did not approve of that sniping of the pizza.
It's all right. We have till
Well-
tomorrow, guys. We all know tomorrow's the official holiday for that. I'm having a beautiful glass of Mrs. M's family wine this evening, complemented by some delicious homemade Chinese food. The pictures are in Discord. You guys know the drill, but just relaxing and having a good time. So, very awesome evening so far, to say the least. But all right, let's get it going. Let's dig into some questions here. Keep moving.
Yeah, my favorite X-Plane 11 model. It's no secret. They're Ozebo, baby. Ozebo is my favorite X-Plane 11 model. It's number one, and it's number one by far, actually. So
Interesting.
I have a ranking, obviously my top 20 of both GA and Jet, and it's number one for sure.
I would have to agree with that. Except my number one still is the Flight Factor 320. I don't think you can beat that. It's just a fantastic plane, fantastic base for what they're trying to get. There should be an update coming out soon, a beta. Did it come out? I haven't been at my computer very often. This
Yes,
week.
I'm beta testing 0.9.
Perfect. Yes.
So it's a closed
There you go.
beta right now, but lots of changes. So
I'm very excited for that. Plus that with the BSS sound pack is phenomenal, which just got updated to 1.4. Unbelievable, just the sound of it now, and it's just fantastic. So that's my favorite. Mr. Brad.
I'm going to have to say probably the Flight Factor 757-200, my first payware purchase, and I think that got me going because up until that point, which was, September of 2017, I didn't know that a quality add-on for a 757 existed, and I said I kind of have to have this in my life. And it came with a great number of additions to it, including having multiple engines, multiple configurations. And I said this is just something I have to have. I think it's worth my money. I think it was roughly $60 at the time, and it was just a great choice. And of course, you've seen it develop quite swiftly since that time frame. It's pretty much the same time since I've been streaming. The first two planes I ever streamed were the Zebo and the 757. And those of you who have been here since the beginning, that's all we flew. I'm not sure how you put up with it, but somehow you did. It was a good time. So I think 757 for me. It's my favorite.
let me put that question. Just let me flip it for just a second. As far as when Puck and Brad, when you watch a stream, what would you say is your favorite P3D plane to watch on a stream?
Oh, good question.
I'm not even going to answer this, John. You know what it is.
I mean, I think Brad and I are the same. I think we're in the same boat.
You're making me sick to
777.
my stomach. Yeah, making me sick to my stomach thinking about it, by the
777.
way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
777, 787. Those two are my.
PMDG. Okay.
Yes.
That's a sore
PMDG
subject.
Quality wings.
It's a real sore subject. Yeah, Quality Wings,
One day.
Time to Jet streaming his last night was just fantastic. it's so great to see, a high performing, fully functional, kind of capable 787, knowing that we own the Magnite, saying, hey, this is what's possible, right, in our world.
Mm-hmm.
So we kind of look at that with big eyes and, googly eyes, saying, might one day this be us, and we hope. But from what I've heard, even people saying on the P3D side that even the quality wings really isn't like that amazing. And I'm like, I'm not sure what you're on, but I'm looking at it on the stream and it's
Mm.
just fantastic. People say it's kind of weird,
All,
it's funky, glitchy. I don't know.
all they have to do is fly the Magnite, and then the quality wings. It's all perspective, right?
Yeah, big
But
time
of course,
subjective.
everyone knows I'm rooting for the 2 to 3 year plan for the Magnite or quality wings to port. I'm impartial, but I will say that my favorite P3D aircraft to watch is still the NGX. So I think it was my first jet in the sim, believe it or not, and I flew the NGX on P3D up through version. Well, actually, I did a dabble in it, 6 months ago.
Sure.
But that was what I was working on in 2013 with FS to crew, when I didn't know what I was doing. But I'll still say that I enjoy watching an NGX stream, and I'm really looking forward to their reboot.
You know what
Edition. So
amazes
yeah.
me, in addition to that, is the number of different add-ons they have for the NGX. Sound packs, texture packs. It's amazing what you can find on like Sim Market. There's tons of add-ons, and I actually found this today. For example, they sell a UHD texture pack for the Captain Sim 757 for P3D, and I couldn't
Mm,
imagine anything like that ever existing in X-Plane, right? Wouldn't that
mm,
fathom you to have to pay for Ultra HD textures, right? Isn't that kind of interesting to know
mm-hmm.
that third parties are selling these for the aircraft? And it's like, I've already paid, 60 euros. Why should I pay an additional 15 for upgraded textures, right? Why can't the developer
Mm-hmm.
do that? So that was kind of
Flying
funky.
Jackal agrees 100%.
Yeah,
I do agree.
yeah. Really weird. Just I saw that today when I
Yeah.
was doing some research, and I was like, really? Ultra HD textures for an extra 15 euros? I don't know about that. I
We
think
get
you,
extra HD textures for the Tolus, and to cost us
man,
a
that
little
was
time is all.
yeah, that thing is so fantastic so far. I think he's also
Yeah.
working on some other great textures, especially for the SSG and the IXEG. Um, so very happy to see those hopefully in the future as well by Tota Mac. He's been phenomenal for us
I
so
will
far.
I will go out there and say that if someone can develop an add-on and it sells and it makes them money, more power to you. I'm not gonna
Yeah,
say don't do it,
yeah.
but we are lucky on the X-Planet side of things with a lot of free stuff compared to the P3D side. But yeah,
No, yeah, you bet. You bet. All right, next
Yeah.
question we have here.
Um, I guess we'll stick to the X-plane route. So this one comes from Hayden. How you doing, Hayden? What do you see as the most monumental add-on currently in X-plane, and what do you think could be even more monumental in the future of X-plane?
So are we talking payware, freeware, overall?
Overall
any add-on, yeah.
add-on. Yep.
Ortho for XP, hands down. I couldn't imagine the coding and program that went into the program, but I think that the coolest thing is to show somebody who's never been in a flight sim stream before, to show them. Yesterday, for example, I had somebody who lived in San Antonio, and I was just passing over the San Antonio VOR, and I said, look, this is your city right below me. Like, this is it. You know what I mean? Like, being able to tell somebody this is exactly what it would look like in this area of the world right now. Um, it just brings your sim to a whole different level. I think that is super, super invaluable, and it is one of a kind. It will never be duplicated. I mean, it's
Yeah,
it's insane.
I yeah, I started to think about the True Earth series as a monumental add-on, but I didn't take into consideration the game changer that Ortho 4XP has been for me when I discovered. And before Ortho 4XP, we had a utility called G2 XPL, and that's what got me started with Josh Gibbs and company
Yeah.
is learning how to make my Utah look like Utah. And yeah, I would say that those. Yeah, I agree with you. It's funny how sometimes we just agree so easily.
I know, but
As
yeah.
far it's just yeah. As far as future, um, I really think that on the X-Plane side of things, the weather visuals is what is going to be even more monumental for the sim as far as adoption rate, etc. But if you combine good weather visuals with good ortho, it's just like best of both worlds. What do you think, Puck?
I absolutely agree. I think we're all three in the basic understanding that ortho is currently the monumental thing, or in the past was the monumental thing. Um, it was actually funny. My mom has started to watch my live streams every once in a while. Like I'll tell her, "Oh, I'm whatever streaming now," and she'll hop on and talk with everybody for a little bit. And one flight I was doing Tampa to Key West, and the route actually took me directly over Marco Island, Florida. My family owns a house down there
Must be
that we
nice.
rent out for about 10 months out of the year. And so I was flying directly over the Marco Island airport, and she came in, and I was talking about Marco Island, and I said, "Hey, mom, blah blah blah, Marco Island," and then she was like, "Oh, what about it?" And I said, "Look, like right down below us, you could see
Look, Ma.
the Everglades, you could see the airport, you saw every single building in place." And she thought that was the coolest thing. She was like, "How does it look so real? Like it looks like you're outside of an actual 737 flying to Key West." And she I don't know, my mom being somebody who hated me playing video games was actually very surprised by it and loved it. But yeah, for the future, I think there needs to be more improvement on textures for weather. I kind of make fun of Brad a little bit because his clouds look a little boxy and whatnot, and I don't know, he jabs back at me.
Puck always thinks you gotta have this, you gotta have that. I say, Puck, listen. Sometimes simplicity is bliss, Puck.
But you know, having those nice puffy clouds is very nice, and you wouldn't be saying "must be nice" so often if you had those puffy clouds. So.
Got them right here. Take a peek.
It was funny how you were saying keep it simple, and then there was suddenly a cloud regeneration right at that moment that you
That's
said
funny.
that.
Yeah, of course, guys. Just so you know, not that it makes a huge difference to you, but this is the Active Sky Open Beta, which was just released moments ago. So I have that in my sim right now. Of course, we're in LA. We're not expecting to have a monsoon, but just so you know, we're running it at the same time, just to give it a brief overview and make sure it's at least stable for our purposes right now. So you guys can find the changelog and all that sort of stuff on their website. I should also note, though, I think, yeah, again, personally, I think not Active Sky, Ortho is without a doubt, Pilot Edge and any aircraft, barring any of that, I think it's ortho. Like it just takes the cake, it transforms it. And yeah, like granted, I went from FSX in 2006 straight to X-Plane, and even those default X-Plane textures are pretty good, and I'm still content with those. But the ortho just, yeah, I mean, ridiculously good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's get to the next one. What do we have?
Sorry. Somebody texted me and it was a dumb text.
Hate those dumb texts.
Here's a long one from Mr. St. Wolfric. It's a good question though. Why must/does flight simming have to have such a discontinuity with its customer when it comes to assuming that we constantly want to tweak things, and also assume that we all have a high level of computing skill? I guess I'm just tired of having to learn something new to get something to work. I'm actually with you, St. Wolfric, on that. A lot of my add-ons, I have to update one at a time, or I have to re-download something or whatnot. I'm not a fan of that. I would like to have like one installer that everybody uses, that if I put a product key in, I'd be able to just update it and I could tweak it, do whatever I want to it. That's my understanding of the question. I'm not sure if you guys think of it any other way or whatnot.
Yeah, GoSim UK brings up SimStall, which was the intention of SimStall, is to have a uniform kind of umbrella platform for that. Will we see it in the immediate future? No. it's a very it's like a good question, like saying almost like what's the meaning of life type of thing. Like it's a lot to take on, but I mean we've been tweaking things since I've been using computers. You know what I mean? And it's I don't think we're ever gonna leave the tweaking stage, especially when you add on third party developments. I think that's where the fun really kicks in, and it also keeps your brain turning, in motion, right? Because you're talking to your friends saying, "Hey, what are you doing to get better performance?" Right? We have the same specs, but what are you doing differently? And then somebody says, "Hey, try this," and you're like, "That's amazing." But of course, in a perfect world, yes, it would be great to have unilateral performance across the board where we all have just great times. But we don't live in that kind of world, I think, right now, and I don't see it in the immediate future either. That would require such a deep umbrella of like every developer and every programmer and sim developer. I don't know.
Yeah, I would say a part of me has moments where I appreciate the fact that we can dive into the complexity, meaning that we can look at script files and we have the access to plugins that are not necessarily closed source, for example. We also have the ability, it's kind of like the ability to open the hood of your car and work on things, or it can just work. It's just like an automatic, it just works. You don't, that type of thing. I like to have the ability, but I understand St. Wolfric where he's coming from. I fortunately have come from a computer background, both from a career and just having in my home since the 80s. So it comes naturally to me, but there are times where I'm very frustrated by a situation, a conflict that I can't figure out. And sometimes I've seen all three of our streams turn into troubleshooting streams. And sometimes that's actually a good thing, and people learn. And then we also have people in our chat rooms helping us solve a conflict. But I understand. I will say this, though, that once you start to introduce a lack of complexity, or if you try to make it a more smooth transition, you're basically lacking the options to go in and tweak for the positive effect. That's what my initial feeling is on that.
Yeah, I
And
agree.
I don't think it's going to change. Anytime someone tries to change it, i.e., Microsoft Flight, that didn't go anywhere when they tried to simplify things. It didn't take hold with the hardcore simmers. Let's say that.
My take on this is that you know before when I first started simming in X-Plane, right? Before ortho, before any crazy sceneries and stuff like that, any interesting plugins, it worked right out of the box, no questions asked, beautiful FPS all around, no matter what circumstance. Okay, so pretty much again, the simplicity is bliss type of deal, but it's also not reality. Given the fact that we have so many free resources that make our sim look so much better, but I think I kind of lost my train of thought there for a second, but I think that we need the tweaking ability in the long run. I think that's kind of crucial for us, and I think it's more important to have it than to have a developer who can say, hey, look, here's a product, you can't change anything, suck it up. But I mean,
How beautiful it is that we have the discords to help each other out from the technical support side of things. That
invaluable.
It's amazing.
I've
to
been picking
have.
Puck's brain all weekend about this new CPU cooler and the overclock and stuff like that. Because like I'm not a techno wizard, right? But
yeah.
he has more experience with this. You know what I mean? And so like, it's great to just be like Puck, and he's like, what? And I'm like, here's the issue. He's like, here's the solution, and it works out fine because we all have a right to enjoy our sim and our computers. You know what I mean? Especially since we paid so much money for said privilege.
Yeah. I'm
The-
gonna
The
say
way
Discord is a Brad send, not a godsend, but a Brad send.
I think anything. Sorry, anything that. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. But
We're all allowed one of
you'll
those
only be
tonight.
able. Yeah, I know. You'll only be able to get the most out of your sim if you're willing to put that effort in. And what are you doing?
Nothing at all.
What are you doing?
Okay.
Nothing.
Okay. You just
Oh,
got
but-
touched.
I know I did.
By an
That was
angel.
weird. That was a little scary.
What are you
But
talking about?
a lot of the stuff is if you don't put the effort towards it, you won't be able to like get the most out of it. like Brad, when he had his old cooler, he wasn't able to get the most out of his computer. He put the effort in to get a new computer or a new cooler, installed it, asked questions and whatnot, and we went through the entire overclocking process. And look, yesterday his stream went fine.
I've had higher FPS than I have in my entire existence of streaming. You know what I
There
mean?
it
Like,
is.
I wasn't gonna say anything because I don't want to jinx it, but I was like, dang, like this is just the start, you know? So
Yeah, it's just one of those things where if you don't put the effort in to do it, you might not be able to get the most out of it.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
I think that's what a lot of developers, especially Laminar, they look at that and they think about that. And a lot of games are like that. A lot of games you have to actually put the effort in to tweak in order to get them to that top level. One example, I know Chili Willy's, he tweaks his P3D a ton, and it looks fantastic and it performs pretty well. So it's just about how much effort you're willing to put in.
Well,
That's how I've seen
if
it.
you look back at X-Plane 10, they had a more advanced rendering menu and
Yes.
kind of settings
Yeah.
menu, which actually somebody created a plugin that you can do with X-Plane 11 now. I don't own it, but if you're looking for, I mean, hey, every frame counts. So if someone just says, hey, it's 1 FPS increase, like, yeah, out of 60, that's a big portion, right? So there's actually a plugin that exists. You can go ahead and tweak the amount of cars on the road or the amount of clouds being drawn, which ultimately you can configure your sim to run really well. So consider advancing or using the advanced plugin or whatever it might be called.
A lot of questions that are in the chat room that people are typing in, and sorry we're not able to get to those, but be sure to click on that link under !ask to submit your question for the panel,
Yes.
for lack of a better word.
Let's keep moving here. What else do we have here, guys?
Here we have Mr. RC Flyer 86 says, if there's anything that you want for X-Plane that currently isn't available / in development, whether plane, scenery, or plugin, what would it be?
This is just, I mean, this is low-hanging fruit, guys. This is such low-hanging fruit. I'm going to go ahead and just pick that fruit right off the tree. Flight Factor 777. Ramses, if you're listening, listen, just give the consumer what they want, okay?
Please.
That's all.
Or PMDG, right? You take either if it were,
yeah, but I think
Yes.
maybe Ramses has a better idea of the coding and programming.
Community?
Maybe sneak it in a bit
Yeah.
quicker. I know
I'm a
Jack is
big-
telling us it takes time. We're
Big
just
Ramses
Absolutely.
fan.
we're just busting some chops, Jack.
You know what? This is never going to happen, but I would love to have this plugin. And magically, this plugin is a FMC that works perfectly with VNav and LNav for any plane. And it fits into all the panels. I would love a custom FMC. Right now I would categorize 4 FMCs in the X-Plane world as very solid, and there's probably 8 that are very solid on the P3D side. I would love that, but I don't think that's going to exist. So that's kind of in the.
Could you list those by any chance, just for people out there? I'm actually curious as well. What do you think of the 4?
Well, I mean, the Flight Factor 757, the 767, the Zebo, and also the.
Whoa.
I will give the. The IXCG's on the edge, as far as trusting the FMC.
Yeah.
You can that's what I would
the
say.
The default
right now,
one, obviously,
so,
as well. I think the default one. I mean, that's
default. No. I don't trust
really?
that because, for example, if you get, let's say you're on Pilot Edge and you've calculated your route on your FMS, and then suddenly Marcus gives you a shortcut, and you do a direct to in the default FMS, it eliminates suddenly your ability to use VNav. So there's some give and take for the default, but so maybe it's really 3, and then with the
rotate's
IXCG
great
being
as
on
well.
the edge. Okay, then we put the rotate in as 4. Yeah. And then of course the PMDG product are rock solid in their LNav and VNav. But that's what I would love to have, but I don't. XFMC, UFMC used to be these add-ons that the TOLUS and the A320. Yeah, you're
A320
right.
is real good. Tullus
Yeah.
has been not as rock solid for me personally lately as the Flight Factor has, out of
Yeah.
my recent experience, especially on Pilot Edge, when of course you get different scenarios that occur. One sticks out to me as a flight into Portland one time. I was expecting to land on the the tens, and I got the 2.8s, and the FMC didn't want any of it. Actually, it was vice versa. So I had to program each manual waypoint on the way in and each restriction, which was kind of a bummer. But I also think, John, did you not fly the Magnite with the GTN 750 one time? I think I recall that.
I did do
So,
that.
so is that more of a? Can that be used universally in many aircraft for
That was
autopilot
more of a
functionality?
meme. That was more of a meme
Okay,
than an
all right, it was a
actual
meme. All right.
application. Yeah, but you can use the GTN as a 2D utility on almost any aircraft that has the ability to couple. And as a 2D, it doesn't have to be in the panel. Today, as some of you know, I was flying the Bell 429. There's a new emote for that. And I had the GTN in there in the panel because of a mod done by someone. But I want stuff like the SSG E195 to have a solid custom FMS. I want a solid FMC in the Challenger 300.
Oh,
I want. So yeah, that's kind of an interesting subject. But what about you guys as far as or did you already answer?
yeah, I think we kind of just had the consensus of a 777, basically.
Yeah.
That was kind of our immediate, like, hey, we're not like, we're just thinking off of our brains here. Like that's what I would personally want to see come out tomorrow, so I can enjoy tomorrow. Is I have my weather now, I have all my ortho. Like I'm relative my airports. I'm content, right? I want something else to fly, something I've been craving. So
Mm-hmm.
I think to fill that void would be something like that. That's just my personal view.
Yep.
I
Yeah.
agree.
A321 as well, Bish. Yeah, absolutely. Welcome, Bish. I think 321. Yeah, everyone's been kind of stirring the pot, and I'm not sure it's like it's not much of a space race to see who gets it first. But I mean, you guys saw that Flight Factor recently delivered an update officially from their dev on the 320 status. But I mean, if I'm talking right now from my personal view on the current state of any project, I think that Tolus would reach the 321 before Flight Factor at the current stage. They seem to be
And isn't the Flight
ahead of the
Factor
ball.
320 based off of the 321?
No, I don't
I thought
think
No.
so.
someone told me that it actually is based off the 321.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know anything about that. I don't know about that.
I haven't heard. Yeah.
Anyway,
all right.
here we go.
Well, we'll continue on. So I guess we're going into a little bit of IRL stuff. Mr. Arsakit asks, "What was your best flight experience IRL as a passenger?"
That's a really good question, actually. That's a fun one. All right, thanks, Russ.
That's a fun question. Yeah.
Puck, take it away.
I'm not gonna start. I'll let
Fine.
you guys start.
John.
As the best flight experience as a passenger, it it had have been in November 595 Mike Whiskey, a Cirrus SR-22 with Max and Josh, and it was there are so many moments that just stand out. But when we were cloud dodging in southern Florida, working with ATC, working with each other, looking at the radar, and just dodging these gigantic, beautiful clouds and these thunderstorms over here and this, that, and the other. That was my favorite experience in a GA aircraft as a passenger, because, and I'll never forget. And there's been so many moments. I mean, I shared the video of me and Max flying into Boston the other day, and we've flown. I have like 75 hours in that plane or something like this. So that would be that. As far as a passenger in like a commercial airliner, it would be when I was walking onto the plane and the pilot happened to be greeting people, and I just asked him, I said, "What's your SID today?" and smiled, and he goes, "Not sure, but I'll get back to you." And then I sat down, put my luggage away, and within a couple of minutes he walked down the aisle and handed me the printout for the PDC, and I just went, and
That's
it
really
didn't matter.
neat.
It didn't matter where I was flying or what plane I was on, but the fact that the pilot handed me this printout, I just like goosebumps, and I get goosebumps right now. Even
That's
thinking about it.
unique
awesome.
because
That's
most
really
wouldn't care.
cool.
They'd be like, yeah, whatever, right? You know what I mean? Like, but that's really unique. I think you don't get that as much being older, like as opposed to me going to cockpit when I was a kid. Like, of course they were like, I'm sure there's kids all the time up in cockpits, but as you get older, pilots probably tend to care a little bit, maybe a little bit less about your interest in seeing the front of the aircraft, at least from what I can conjure up. Like, you know what I mean? Of course, kids, you know, we've talked about it before, you see a big plane, you're like, I want to touch every button, stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's fun. I think my favorite time as a passenger, personally, two favorites in a GA aircraft, getting to fly a T6 Texan, and then also flying with Josh Gibbs were my two highlights. Those were of the utmost epic experience, actually being able to fly both of those aircraft. And of course, Josh trusting me with his life for some unknown reason. I'm still, to this day, not sure why. But as a passenger, it's tough. It's tough. I think, I don't know. It's hard to really pick one that stands out. I don't know. I fly a lot, and it's kind of hard to like pick one that really stands out. Nothing really, probably U.S. carrier based. Be a foreign carrier. I think my favorite time being a passenger for an airline was getting to go to the Lufthansa lounge, and it was a self-serve hot dog station in addition to a Heineken tap system. So you can imagine I had quite a bit of fun um, over there. So that was a good time. That was a pretty good time. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. That was good. That was fun.
Man. So I think the best time GA was my grandpa has a friend who owns a F-33, a Bonanza, and my grandpa. This was before my dad we were even looking into purchasing a plane. I think this was maybe 5 or 6 months into me having my private license. My grandpa was like, "Okay, we're going to get gas somewhere. Come join." So I sat in the front seat with the other guy that owned the plane, and it was the Bonanza that had the throwover controls. So I thought it was really cool when he was like, "Okay, you have flight controls." Handed the controls over to me, flipped the whole thing over, and it's like you're the only person that can control this plane at this point. I think that was probably the coolest thing. I think that's what got me really hooked on Bonanzas. Um, I went back and told my dad, I was like, "Hey, we're looking into Bonanzas. Like, I want one. Like, let's make this work." Look where we are now. But then probably as a passenger, I think it was going from Atlanta to London. It was a Boeing 777-200 Delta, and they when we got on the plane, I was wearing UND lanyard and whatnot, and they were like, "Oh, UND! I went there in '86 or something like that." And so they were like, "Do you want to come see the cockpit?" And I was like, "Heck yeah, I do!" So I went up and sat in the captain's seat and talked with the captain and the first officer for probably like 10 minutes while they're putting their flight plan in. And I think it was the coolest thing you could ever do. Like, just have a captain be like, "Hey, I went to UND. Get up here." So
Yeah, kind of like
that
one of
was
those things
that was
like, hey,
fun.
like look where I've been, look what I'm doing now, and then of course you're probably googly-eyed saying, hey, I can be, in your shoes one day.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you guys talking about it now. I'm starting to, reconjure up all these different flights I've taken, and there's been a million different great flights as a passenger. I mean, just sometimes things go horribly wrong, and sometimes things go horribly right.
Exactly.
But
I do have to. Sorry, go ahead, Brett.
no, I'm just saying I'm now smiling because I'm thinking of all my good times and thinking of all the
Yeah.
awesome moments being a passenger.
I do have to give honorable mention to the anonymous 737 pilot who had me go into the cockpit in the real world and actually do the captain's pre-flight procedure, like the like touchy feely everything. And
That's awesome.
that person will remain anonymous, but that was so I wasn't technically a passenger because I got off, the plane, uh, but that
Sounds like the
particular
Matrix.
anonymous person also commented later that the first officer that was with him or her really enjoyed my googly wide eyes as I went through this pre-flight procedure, and they kind of it almost re-energized that person who maybe saw they're flying this beautiful plane as maybe starting to get a little mundane, and they saw me coming in there going, oh, ooh, ah, oh, and asking some really good questions because I'd been somewhat familiar with the plane. So honorable mention there.
Yeah, I agree. Just
Coming
moving.
down to-
Don't move. Don't mind
Coming
me. I'm
down to coming down to mingle with the commenters.
just getting
I
cozy,
like
guys.
that.
Don't mind me. Just getting cozy over
It's
here.
not- it's
I
not
kind
was
of
a
good.
like
good
this.
spot.
I kind of
I like
like
that
this over
spot.
here. I
You're
think
not-
it's maybe a bit
yeah.
better over here. What do you
Yeah.
think, John? Is that good?
I agree.
Well,
Puck,
I'm thinking
you
you
happy
need to
with
be
this?
a little bit,
I
a little
agree.
bit, a little bit taller. So
Maybe I'll sit up a little bit more straight. I'm slacking, guys. It's already almost 9. I'm an old man. Let me just sit, and relax for a bit here.
it looks like we're all sitting at a desk. This is awesome.
This is great.
All
We
right,
I
just
good.
love I love the background. I really do.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, I think this is a bit better. But let's keep it going. We have more questions stacking up. Let's keep them cranking.
Yes, we do. Oh man, we're gonna end this one really quickly.
Wow, already? It's
Skeet
only 9
says-
o'clock. We just started.
No.
Oh, gotcha.
No. This question. Our Skeet asks, "Does pineapple belong on pizza?"
Yes.
And he says, "False. It does not."
Not a question. Answered his own question. It certainly does, guys. All right. I'm sick of this.
Absolutely.
I'm sick of this
It
whole
does.
anti-pineapple deal, okay? This anti-United Airlines. Don't forget whose channel you're in right now, okay? You guys know who you're batting for. All right? Be careful.
I love pineapple on pizza, but I'll tell you something I had about 4 months ago for the first time. A very, very, very sliced thinly lemon on my pizza. I'd never done it before.
Now,
Had,
that's where I'm going to have
Sounds
to
actually
draw the
kinda
line.
good. I don't
No,
know.
no,
I
no.
think it sounds
I'm gonna
good.
send you the full recipe of the pizza, Brad.
Did you eat the
Because
rind, though, like in the lemon, the whole thing? Did you actually?
No. It's just like the thin slice without the rind, and it's really, really. It's like the thin slice of lemon that you'd put on a piece of sushi, right? But it was on a
Oh.
cooked pizza with the right amount of cheese and these other seasonings. It was. I'll send you the ingredients, but yeah, it was weird, but it was beautiful. We digress.
Anyway, guys, but no, for real, pineapple and bacon or ham, it is sweet, it's savory. Literally, what else do you possibly ask for, okay? Don't just play into this, comedic routine. Oh, everybody else doesn't like pineapple. Try it, you'll like it. I never tried it before until like maybe 7 months ago. It's phenomenal, I promise you. All right?
Mhm.
I promise.
I think we need to also say this. It doesn't really matter because it's all personal taste. So whether you say it belongs or not, it only belongs if your tongue says it belongs.
It's like a
all right?
flight sim,
So
Puck. It's like a flight sim. It's your
There it is.
personal taste.
Mm,
You do what you
Perfect.
want. All right?
That's perfect.
We have a subscribe from Mr. November 799er32. Thank you for Twitch Prime. I appreciate the sub. Thanks for supporting the channel. Cheers from all three of us this evening. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
All
keep it
right.
going.
Next question. I can't answer this one. This one's from Bishy B753.
Mhm.
What do you guys think about X Enviro 1.10? With many unhappy current customers due to the performance issues we've experienced too many times previously. Looks like they're adding more features like snow, etc., and not much info regarding the performance side of it. So, in essence, what do you guys think of it currently?
We kind of touched on this on episode 1, I think, where I just want to get my hands on it so I can really weigh in. I mean, I tried 1.07 and 1.09. I'm waiting to get my hands on 1.10. Is it out? It's not out, right?
No, it's in a closed beta. Look, here's the problem. R1 Aviation, Ruben creates great videos for developers, great flight sim videos. Awesome member of the channel here. Many of our channels, as a matter of fact. And he was recently allowed to stream the add-on while also answering Q&As and stuff like that. And the problem was his PC was not up to spec with ours, for example. And of course, him demoing it, everyone is just immediately blaming him. The basis of the stream was to watch and ask questions and get answers from the developer live in the chat through voice. Everyone is just complaining, performance is bad, right? He had a lower end spec system. But I can't speak for old performance. I can't speak for new just yet, but I've seen good results. I've heard of good results personally from people who actually not own, but people who have access to the beta. They said it works well on the higher end systems, but that was a stream that was annoying for me to watch because everybody kept complaining about performance without having knowledge of the specs behind the PC. The capabilities are ridiculously insane. Snow accumulations on any 3D object, static, or even your own aircraft, if the developer chooses to implement that, the aircraft developer, that's a game changer. Even on top of ortho, snow accumulations and snow textures. That's huge,
Yeah.
right? But of course,
I'm
performance is
rooting for him.
massive.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm rooting for him, and I love the fact that we're going to have active Sky for X plane coming out with textures, and there's going to be a massive Pepsi versus Coke. I think those are the two contenders. Other people would disagree with me, but
yeah.
I think those are the two contenders. And it may be a situation where we alternate back and forth, but I want to get my hands on it. And obviously, they're in a private beta, and we're seeing screen captures, and it's unfortunate that he doesn't have the proper PC to take a look at what's what. But maybe they should give it to a couple of the GSA streamers.
Yeah,
We
the
should
point of the
reach
whole
out.
stream though was just to simply do a Q&A, and I guess people just kind of
Yeah.
mistook that. But yeah, snow is huge. Volumetric, I guess the 3D clouds, volumetric lighting is huge. That's a crazy, crazy big one. It's got a lot of potential, and it's already been delivered. Like the results are there. It's already in their add-on, but it's a matter, I guess, of Garrett's now saying it's not optimized just yet. Which, of course, and I think John, I think you're so spot on. It's either you're going to be so far right or so far left. Like there is no middle
Mhm.
ground. Like you won't be using Active Sky's engine with such and such cloud. Like you're either one side of the fence or the other, basically.
And you could, I mean, as a streamer, you could alternate and show comparison for a time, but there'll probably be a clear winner that continues to develop, continues to foster a good relationship with the community from a customer service aspect. There's a lot of variables that make something successful in the end. I will say, though, that personally, I'm not as excited about snow accumulation as I am for 3D volumetric clouds that are just
Really,
as good as P3D active sky.
I'm with him on
I
that.
That's what I want.
but
Snow.
consider the fact though that we're
I
getting
would
Active
love
Sky
it.
cloud art relatively soon, right? We're already a couple of months into the development here, so I mean, we're inching every month slowly towards new cloud art. I think snow accumulations has never been done in any sim ever. Like literally every single 3D static object will accumulate snow, including the ground, your jetways, your marshallers, your buildings, and of course, even if you have ortho, they replace the ortho textures with snow textures. That's massive.
And I guess they're going to have to work with developers in making their objects be able to, well, the snow to be able to detect these objects
No,
because
only the
right
aircraft.
now, well, you were saying on the buildings, the
Yeah,
snow
no,
goes on the
that's by
buildings.
default. Every single, it doesn't matter if you're a payware dev, it's already there. But if you're an aircraft developer,
How okay, so it'll be interesting to see how that unfolds because right now, presently, for example, I took my Bell 429 out to an oil rig that didn't have a landing pad. It had the
mhm.
landing pad depicted graphically, but I sunk right through it, right? Snow is not going to know to accumulate on that oil rig platform,
it,
I
it
don't think, unless it's a solid object.
Well, it should be a platform in itself. There is no doubt. I'm not sure why it wasn't, but almost every single platform that I've ever landed on has been solid. I don't think there's ever been one that's not been a solid landing strip. But I flew with somebody on a group flight actually, who flew with me out of an unnamed. I'm not going to specify too much here to reveal my source, but they sent me pictures of them flying with me and the accumulations they had on a third-party payware uh, airport out of the box, no crazy stuff, just X and Viro. And they were getting accumulations on every single thing at
So
that
like
third
a
party airport.
hanger that is not solid
The
that's going to
marshaller
accumulate.
was
That is impressive.
even Gary the marshaller had accumulations, the jetway,
Wow.
the buildings, all the vehicles, the baggage carts, everything.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And the
Okay.
longer you stay there, the more it accumulates.
It's going to be an exciting battle.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's X
Good
and Viro
question,
for you.
Bish. Yeah, good question.
Really was.
All right, so continuing on, we already answered this one. We kind of already answered this one, but I think what we need to rephrase, we'll rephrase this. It's from Mr. Kilo. Is there anything that does not exist yet that you think would really improve your simulator experience? So he put software, plugins, plugins / add-ons, etc. I think let's stick to software. So we talked about add-ons, we talked about plugins. Let's talk about software. So software or hardware, what do you guys think would be beneficial?
It's hard to say what doesn't exist and what we'd like. Sometimes like you have to kind of understand that point that you're at. Like you have to understand when you're in, the good old days. I think I touched on this in episode 2, but like right now, I feel like I'm in the good old days. I'm gonna look back on this and be like, wow, this was like the time to be simming. Tons of great friends, great flights, so many new things entering the market. Like I'm just kind of chilling back and realizing like, hey, I'm trying to soak it all up and just take it in right now. As far as the future goes and what doesn't exist, I'm like really content. Again, I got my scenery, my weather, my aircraft. Like I'm pretty good. I don't know.
Yeah, we've kind of touched on that a couple of different times. I am just a month ago I was still asking for a live traffic plugin.
Yeah, and look at that. Is that an A380 right there, pulling in the gate or something like that, taking off?
Yep.
Looks
Wow.
like it.
Jeez.
In the real world, folks. That's real world right now.
This is the live traffic plugin. So this is actually, of course, it's not currently this, daytime at LAX, but this is real world traffic flying into and out of LAX via the live traffic plugin, giving you guys that beautiful background in case you're sick of seeing our faces, which we understand. We understand.
It's very awesome. I think just performance increases. Getting newer graphics cards, whatnot, just to increase our performance, or having Laminar increase our performance, or being able to increase the performance while not degrading quality or how the sim runs.
Yeah, Vulcan. Yeah.
Vulcan, yes, exactly. I think that's the biggest thing I'm ready for.
But we still have to get to the fact that we're adding so much stuff to our sim, we're actually hindering ourselves.
Yes.
Because if we had nothing in our sim right now, our sims would be 60 flat, no questions asked. Like as high as your refresh rate can go. Yep. So it's tough to ask Laminar for more because they've given already.
They have given us a lot.
I want more.
Oh,
I want more.
Of course, I'm a greedy consumer
reason
too.
I want more is today I was downloading the True Earth Great Britain North in the background of my simulation flying the Bell 429, and it was I went back and looked at the VOD. I was really lagging that.
So John, I actually have, this will be for post stream. I actually have something I can walk you through. It's a big problem with New York. There's so many objects. I have some tweaks to help you out with that, which will amend that immediately. So don't worry about that. All right, we'll get that squared away for you.
Perfect. No, it was the fact that Orbix was also converting textures in the background. That was the biggest problem of why I was lagging.
Do you have New York Ortho, by the way?
Yes.
So you're loading 2 orthos. You're loading DD and yours as well.
Yes.
So there's 2 textures right there, and it depends on your texture quality. You're loading in more than your card can handle. There's a lot of different stuff we can go over to aid that. So
and that's the beauty of this community, is we so help each other out.
Yeah.
It's the best.
Imagine if we didn't have this though for a second, for real. Like imagine if there wasn't a Discord. If you guys didn't ever find Twitch, and I didn't ever find Twitch either, right? Imagine if we were just solo reading AbSim forums all day, trying to diagnose problems.
Sitting in the Stone Age.
Yeah.
I would probably fly once a quarter.
Yeah. That's what I'm thinking too. If it weren't for Twitch, I would not be here flight simming. It's so hard not to share it, I don't know.
Yep.
Love
until I found Twitch earlier 2018. I maybe flew once or twice a blue moon or whatnot, and it was
well, before that you were on Twitch for a while.
Well, yeah, I was on Twitch for a while, but I never watched.
Oh, you never did the flight stuff, yeah.
No, never watched any flight sim. Yeah. I think Matt Davies was the first person, like 3 or 4 years ago, and I watched him for like a month, stopped watching, came back, and now everybody else was getting into the game, and it just became a ton of fun.
And a year from now, it's going to be even bigger.
Oh yeah. So very good question. Thank you, Kilo. Here's one, John. I think this would be a good one for you. From Drev. Will there ever be a section in GSA for IRL pilots that do IRL streams? And I'll add on to that in a second. Or I could add on a little bit of technology.
Yeah, the GSA, we're very fortunate that the Global Sim Alliance has. Can I get an emote in the chat?
Guys, come on.
We're very lucky that several of the GSA pilots / streamers are real world pilots. We have a number of type rated pilots. We have GA pilots. We have instrument rated pilots. All of those people are more than welcome to stream whatever they want, whether it be Call of Duty or an IRL flight stream. So there won't be a section of GSA, um, but just anyone that's a member of the GSA that wants to do an IRL stream. We love those. Those are golden.
Puck does them.
I will
John
say
does
that
them.
if
Everybody, yeah.
I will say that if there was an IRL only streamer that was a pilot in the real world, yeah, I mean if they're good content, why not? Why not have them in the GSA? So, yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think the logistics behind doing IRL streams with flying it's hard to do because the times that I've done it, my phone either glitched out where I'd get like 5 FPS or something, or it just lag and lag and lag. And then for me in the Bonanza, I have to be, if I want peak efficiency, which is what I strive for, because I don't like paying for gas. Gas sucks. I have to be at or above 8,000 feet, and at or above maybe 3,000 or 4,000 feet, I lose cell service. So it's one of those things where it's hard to be able to justify adding somebody to GSA, especially GSA being a sim alliance,
Yeah.
just for
Yeah.
that one instance of IRL
Yeah.
flying, if that makes
I
sense.
will. Yeah, no, that makes total sense. I will say that a lot of the IRL streams that I like for aviation are the walk around and the pre-flight and on the ground and talking to ATC. And yeah, I'm pretty much used to losing the stream when they hit about 1,000 feet AGL or less, and sometimes more. And obviously, um, there's been times where we've caught someone at halfway through their cross country at 4,000, the passenger filming or whatever. But maybe the technology will allow for more of that. But one thing I don't want to have happen is for pilots to get distracted by putting on a production and there be any sort of safety issues.
I cannot agree with that more. I think my most dangerous time is when I'm worrying about making production value, or worried about how the image looks or whatnot. Some I've started to do IRL vlogs or IRL videos with my plane, and I just uploaded one today with one of my friends doing an instrument currency. And the time that I feel not safe with myself or with the plane is when I'm focused on getting a shot or focused on talking about something. So there's one instance where I hear a controller ask if UND planes can come in and do instrument approaches for controller certification, because they're about a month behind now because of the government shutdown. They need to get recertified. So one of the questions was, whenever they call somebody up, they'd say, are you able to do a approach for controller certification? And everybody was saying no. And so we decided that we were going to go back and do a few approaches. I needed to get current again, and that was that. So at one point, I decided we're going to turn around. We're going to head back to Grand Forks and do some approaches. But I turned around and started digging something out of my bag without giving controls to the other person. And I didn't think about that because I was thinking about, oh, this will be a great shot of me reaching behind to grab my foggles or my glasses to cover my view. And looking back at it, it's very dangerous to do that, to not be focused on flying or letting somebody else fly the airplane while your back is turned. So
Yep.
I think it's definitely a safety issue, and you want to make sure that you're being the safest pilot you can, because it can get a little scary at some points.
Yeah.
But good question. Very good question. All right. Another one from St. Wolfric. Is there or will there be will there be a somewhat simple or generic livery painter / creator? Um, is it that complicated? I want to spray paint some planes.
No, it's not. I mean, if the developer releases a paint kit for the aircraft, which they typically 9 out of 10 times will, open up Paint.net, Photoshop, GIMP, and feel free to just slap on your logos, your colors, your paints. It's very, very, very easy once the paint kit is released. Besides that, it can be difficult to do it yourself. Very difficult. Sometimes third parties have had to intervene and release the paint kit. But other than that, it's very easy once you have access to those tools.
I've heard that Carenado is harder than some others, but I personally am not a professional in that area. But I did open up the default paint, and I took it into GIMP, the free GIMP paint program, and put the John Fly logo on the Eclipse. Thank you very much, and it's free. You can have it for free.
Yeah, I mean it's really easy, but complex. You want to go into Captain K-Man type stuff. I mean, you got to know maybe what you're doing, but you want to slap some logos, write your name on the plane. It's do your own registration's real easy, right? I mean, it's just a simple.
I'm amazed at people like Cessna Rocks and MB Liveries and J'Aviation and even Kjo, and also Cranky 65 hasn't done any for a while, but all these guys are really talented artists, and and we have a lot of volunteer artists that do Snack Air liveries too. So.
Yeah,
Snack Air.
Verity comes to mind as well. It does a lot of great paints for
Verity,
all of us.
Yes,
all of us does some paints. Dedicated young man there.
Some awesome paint. He has some awesome painting skills.
Yeah,
love it.
But yeah, like what St. Wolfric is asking, it would be great if you had an application where you said, you know what, I want to just spray paint this, and maybe we, that would be fun.
Yeah, I agree.
Exist right now, I don't think. We have to take the images into GIMP or Photoshop, and then that's a whole another ball game.
Yes.
So we got J Long. Oh, sorry, I was going to say next question, but go ahead. No. Go, keep going.
No, I was just saying, if there was just one application that was able to do it all, and it would even allow somebody to make. I think it would be really cool if there was an ability to so let's say some of the Carenado planes do not have paint kit. So if there was an ability to be able to scan that airplane in order to get a paint kit, that would take a lot of work. I understand that. But if there was a way to do it, that would be awesome. Because some developers don't produce it because it does take a lot of time to develop them.
But they have them because they make the liveries that ship out.
Exactly.
So it's like just release it. Just release
that's
it.
The issue. And I don't get it.
Yeah.
I just thought of an add-on where I can scan, like you just used the word scan, a plane from my X-plane arsenal and 3D print it.
What?
I want to 3D print it, a model.
That would be so cool.
It's just pretty neat.
On me. Anyway, moving on.
So Jaylong asks us, will X-Plane ever achieve P3D's cloud draw distance? He hates the square cloud coverage. I will attest to the fact that there is square cloud coverage, but at the same time, how far are you trying to see your clouds, right? I mean, the sim goes as far as the natural eye can see, basically, right? I mean, when you start going to areas like extreme cloud and any type of extreme draw distance, you're sacrificing resources that will lower your FPS in your immediate area for having to render further objects. I don't know if you guys have ever had the experience of that. I've been pretty content with draw distance so far. I have not had to go further than what I've seen in the cockpit. Have you guys?
Well, I've been known to pan out to space and then come back in.
So
and those
that's a different story, but
kind of annoying.
But in 3D cockpit, you don't ever need to go further.
Yeah, I think there have been a few moments where I've been flying on the edge of a formation of clouds, and there seemed to be a more straight line than I wanted, but it's very rare. So I think it's just a matter of time before things are optimized where you're not going to see that in any way, shape, or form.
I think it does a pretty good square. Like I think right now I think it does a whole tile of clouds, basically.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot of resources.
I think the only time I've had an issue was using SkyMax Pro, because with SkyMax Pro, if I were to go out, let's say more than, I think it was 10,000 square kilometers. I don't even remember what it was. If I were to go past a certain distance, it would really, really degrade my performance. So I'd like lose like 15 FPS or something like that.
Wow.
But once I got rid of SkyMax Pro and I started just using regular X-Plane default and now Active Sky, I've never had an issue with it. I just look out and I don't ever see the end of it, if that makes sense. I've never seen the end of it.
Neither have I.
Just regular.
Unless you go looking for it. Unless you go looking for it, then it's there.
Yeah.
But at the same time, again, if you want to go further, you're then trading off FPS to further render more clouds, which in a 3D cockpit is completely unnecessary, in my opinion, from just a normal pilot and command point of view. I don't know. That's just how I see it.
Yep, I agree. Very good question.
Yeah.
So,
next one we got here. Let's go ahead.
Oh, this is kind of a good one. Sorry, I had to look through them really quickly. How do you say this?
Good evening.
Macy J.
Macy J. Sorry. Wow. Macy J asks, good evening. My question to all of you guys. Let's imagine if somebody has a fear of planes and flying. Does letting
them into the flight sim help them overcome their fear of flying? What are your thoughts? I've had people who have come into my streams and others I've seen that say, hey, I'm afraid of flying. This is helping me prepare for my upcoming flight. I don't personally know how. Maybe because they know what's going on up front. Maybe that gives them a better, understanding of what's going on in the aircraft. Not just like, hey, there's two guys up front, playing poker and smoking, cigarettes and having a fun time, right? But I think that maybe can kind of just ease your mind knowing what the pilots actually have to do, and that, hey, there's a computer flying your plane, basically. Oh, we got a food delivery here.
Food delivery.
Food delivery's here. What do we have? Look at that. Oh, my Lanta. Must be nice.
Wow. Oh, man.
Nice little slice of pizza there. You guys are a day early, but it's okay. It's whatever. It's whatever. It's fine. It's cool.
I would say that...
Just gonna hide you guys for eating pizza on my stream. So welcome to the Bright M stream, guys. Thanks for being here. We're at LAX right now. We're gonna get going. We're heading up to San Francisco. Just kidding. Don't worry, you guys are back.
We're gone.
We're just done.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. That's awesome. I would say that if someone did have a fear of flying, and they did the flight simulation, I don't know. I don't think that's gonna help someone, because I think it's just a matter of them going up and doing it and then conquering that fear. I don't think flight simulations is going to help the average person that's afraid of flying. It may make it worse just based on the complexity, especially if they watch a John Fly stream.
Especially when John's flying a helicopter, maybe. You did really great today, by the way. That was fantastic.
That's funny.
It really was.
Yeah. So so with my mom, I go back to my mom a lot because she's very she watches my stream. She's seen it. She's seen me do the sims and whatnot. And she has a deathly fear of flying. She took 2 Xanax to get to Switzerland. An awesome country. She had to take 2 Xanax just to be able to get on.
Some people just don't like the claustrophobia aspect. I feel like some people also don't.
Yeah, the weird thing is, I don't think that's not how she was. Because she could be in cramped space. She'll be on a train just fine with a full car. She's totally fine with that, or a subway or whatnot. But it's my grandpa's a pilot, my uncle's a pilot. She hated flying with my grandpa, going up to our family's cabin up in northern Ontario. She hated flying in because that's the only way you can get in. And she was never in control. She hates not being in control. And my grandpa would always force her to get on the plane, and I think that was part of it. But she started watching like me fly like these transport category aircraft, and she was like, wow, this doesn't seem that hard. I mean, if you're doing it, it must not be that hard. And I'm like, thanks, Mom.
Thanks,
But
Mom.
I think I'm gonna actually be able to get her into the Bonanza for spring break. So I'm really
B2 had-
hoping.
Do you see that what B2 had to take just to watch this stream?
Very nice.
Wow.
Now, we'll admit
Reason
this
I-
though.
oh,
From flight simming, it's going to sound weird and also kind of like it's going to sound weird is that I've never been afraid of anything when flying, right? It's been just so like part of the norm, so crazy. But ever since using flight sim more in depth, I've actually gained a bit of not a fear, but like an alarm. Like I know what can go wrong in these circumstances, right? And I know how helpless you can be. Slash, I know how bad I've messed up in the past. Like you almost know, like, hey, like there's this impending sense of doom. If something catastrophic were to go wrong, like you know that this is the end, right? I mean, hey, if you're at 40,000 feet and lose engines, you can glide and all that sort of fun stuff. But at the same time, like there's like this fear, like when you hit some really severe turbulence, like man, like I've seen this happen in the sim before. Like next thing you know, we're inverted, making a beeline for Iowa, right, or some weird crazy stuff. I don't know.
Yep.
That's what the sim has done to me. I will admit that the sim has done that to me. It's actually maybe I've gained not a fear, but just a raised alarm of when certain things occur, or if I feel a certain movement on the aircraft. I'm like, this is not normal from what I've seen in my sim. You know what I mean? Is that crazy? Do I
That's-
sound kind of
No,
weird?
I mean I can attest to that. Yeah, I've had that feeling where it's like, oh, don't like this.
Yeah, it's like, wait, what is this? This is unfamiliar to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's kind of weird.
exactly.
Maybe I'm getting too comfortable with the sim in some regard,
I
potentially.
think I talked about
Sorry.
this once before. I was in an aborted takeoff once in a 7.3. I think now that I've done all this simming, then if it ever happens again, I'm going to be more concerned about the second attempt to take off. Because I don't know if it was a runway incursion or if it was a performance issue or what. But
That's actually that's huge. Yeah, not knowing.
Speaking of huge, check it out. 747 British Airways coming into land right now.
Ooh,
He's crabbing hard. He's
snap.
crabbing hard. Oh! VTOL. He is making a beeline for the In-N-Out burger.
Whoa!
He doesn't even
Hey,
care.
He's Tokyo drifting right there.
Nice. Hey guys,
Well,
British
yeah,
Airways for you.
super crab.
I guess I have a little story to go with that. To go with this whole question. When I was flying, John takes his swig.
No, straight to the bitch, straight to the hotel.
There it is. When I was flying in the sim, I actually had a incident where the gear did not go down. I was actually like flying the Bonanza in the sim, and the gear didn't go down. I had my front and then my right main were down and indicating green. Left main was not indicating green. And the left main, I landed, left main was not down. And it buckled. I actually had an incident about 3 weeks ago, where I had a landing indicator light go out when I was flying, and I actually had to call tower and say, "Hey, I don't know if my gear is down. Can we do a low approach, and can you send somebody out to go and check?" They had to roll out 2 fire trucks and to roll out a airport ops car after me. Because
Ops
I didn't
3.
know if Ops 3. I didn't know if gear was down.
It's crazy.
I didn't know if the gear was down, and so did the low approach, came in, landed. It was all fine, but it's that enlightened it's that alert. Like, okay, the gear might not be down. I could completely damage my plane. Let's figure this out.
It's almost like a dream coming to reality.
It is.
In a way.
It is.
You're like,
Yes.
oh crikeys, I've seen this before. Like this is now happening. Like I kind of feel like your sense of panic probably like, oh my god, like I've already relived this in the sim.
Exactly.
And it's probably at the same airport, everything, type of deal.
Yep.
Probably not, but yeah.
Bill says a Challenger's up next. Are you talking about the LA arrivals, Bill?
Oh, is there a Challenger coming in on the 2-4s, Mr. Bill?
This is great. I love it.
What
Yeah,
do you
good
guys
question.
think of the Blue Sky Star Sound A320 pack 1.4, and what do you think needs to be improved on that sound pack? I'm not a sound guy, so I'm going to bow out of this question. And I don't own
I,
that product
now,
yet, so
well,
you.
to revert it to you, John, why are you not a sound guy? Why do we always get John flying noise canceling headphones when it's time to listen to these beautiful CFMs roar?
Yeah,
That
man.
is a great question. Did you submit it on the form?
I did actually. You don't see it?
Okay. Nope, I see
Oh,
it
there it
now.
is, Bill. Look at it. There
Uh,
it is. Challenger.
oh,
There it
there it
is.
is. Oh,
Look at
that's a
that.
good looking
That is cool.
Bluebell
Thanks,
CSL
Bill.
right there.
Nice.
That's
Then a
awesome.
777 he says,
Um,
cool.
and that Challenger had a proper
Yeah.
FMS. Uh,
Wow.
I will say that you know me. I turn sounds up for takeoff, and I turn sounds up from time to time. Now there are too many streams where I go in and there's a constant engine noise, and I can't stay tuned. There is a constant engine noise that's almost sometimes equal to the streamer voice,
Yeah, I've seen that before.
and it makes it unwatchable, right? So you got to be very careful because you as a streamer, you have no idea in you have it's an art to learn levels, right? So by taking the sound down in my stream, I avoid those scenarios, but there are certain moments where I want to hear those sounds. Um, but yeah, if you're looking for sounds, you typically only get them on a John Fly stream during takeoff. So maybe that'll change. I don't know.
In regards to the 1.4 sound pack, which we're just going to pretty much say it's the same thing as 1.3 because they came out like a day after each other. Um, it's fun. It's nice. It's different. Of course, it reverted your old settings that you used to have before in terms of your ground roll noises,
It
in
did. That made
terms
me annoyed.
of your wind noises. But it also introduced this
Oh,
very
triple
weird.
seven.
That's very nice. That's on the money too. Which way? I think it's this way, right? This is anyway, this weird noise when you hit the brakes or you bring the thrust back to idle. It's this wind down of the engines, and it sounds very weird. I'm gonna have to report to the developer. It's very uncharacteristic of what I've heard. You know what? Actually, maybe not in a way because it sounds kind of like the Zebo, but it's very pronounced, and it's hard to get it to be a bit more quiet. Overall, Blue Sky Star is rocking the game. They're just killing it with the 320. And of course, they have the MD80 coming out. They have the Tolus. They already put out the 777 Flight Factor Pack. So they got a lot of stuff in the works coming up, guys. So they're,
I
yeah.
love the 320 sounds. Like I can't get enough of them. I got it the day that they got released for the 320. I was like, Brad, you need to get this. You need to get this. And he was like,
Yeah, I
I'll
said
wait till it
no.
releases.
I said no.
And 7 months later,
You
he
want to know
still
what it
didn't
was?
have it.
Version 1.1, because it was a complete overhaul. And I was like, I have to get this today because those were good.
It was good.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought it was good from the beginning, but 1.1 was
You know,
it
default
was
beta sounds
unbelievable.
didn't sound terribly. I used those for a long time. They were fine. But I'll tell you what, every incremental update, 1.2, 3, 4, they sound like they're just minor updates. He's literally
It's huge.
overhauling the entire sounds. Like
Yeah.
they're now pitch matched to each specific percent of the N1, for example.
I do.
So yeah, don't take it for granted on the 1.4 versus 1.3. He really does put a lot of work into each.
I will say that if someone came to me and said, "What, as far as all of the times that you have used sound, John, what's your favorite?" I will say the FlyJ Sim, a 727 is my favorite from a sound perspective, and of course
727 is great.
the 732 is very very similar. Daniela did this F mod, and it when I do flybys of the 727, that sound is off the chart. So I will say that.
It's good. It's good.
Very good question, Mr. Cessna. Thank you. Kilo asks, "Are you looking forward to PosCon? Is that even a thing anymore? Does anybody know?
That's a
I
tough
don't even
question to
know.
really answer. I'm not sure if you guys know more than us out there, but I'm not sure if that's, again, out of my current knowledge, and I think it sounds like as well as Puck's. I don't really know if that's still on the table.
I don't
I
think it's
assume it
even
is.
developing.
I think it is.
I think that here's the latest, right? They're the Expo put out a press release with their exhibitors. PosCon is listed.
It is.
So we're gonna know in June, if there's anything. The fact that they were last year at the FS Expo, and and we haven't seen anything, that's a little bit concerning. But we know that PosCon was purchased, and we know that it's in the hands of Andrew and others, and we'll be able to find out what's what by June for sure. My own personal belief is that it's gonna, even if it does get going and does exist in some form or fashion, it's gonna be very difficult to get up to the what I call the pilot edge quality on a free system. I want that guaranteed coverage issue. It's hard to do that on a
They had a
volunteer
lot of
basis.
momentum going for quite a while. I mean, they had a lot of momentum going, it sounded like. But I'll tell you what, I mean, Pilot Edge has really, I mean,
Hmm.
done me in big time. It's weird to say, but I've made it friends with numerous controllers just through my stream. I'm not sure how they found me, but they found my stream and they come hang out while they're on frequency with me, which is just super valuable and helpful in itself. Austin, Goldsy, Toby, they're all just awesome dudes and they're so helpful.
Yeah.
But
I think I found the PosGon website 2 years ago. So the fact that we haven't seen not even a
well, I mean, go to
10 guys, just 10 guys using it and 2 guys streaming it. We haven't even seen that,
but
even like
go over to
a role
VATSIM.
play of it.
Go over to VATSIM and you look at people are saying for the past decade, where the heck is this codec, right? And now we're
Yeah.
just kind of catching wind of it,
Yeah.
more or less a bit more. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't
And we've
know.
talked about it before, but I'm all in favor of Pilot Edge opening up the world for $5, and everyone being on that awesome network. I would, so I'm if I were to bet on a pony right now, I would bet on the P happy emote.
Yeah, I would love that as well. I actually think I recall Bish actually saying that Keith actually denied that. Keith got wind of that and denied it that it would ever occur. I'm not sure if Bish
Oh,
can
that
confirm or deny
sucks.
that.
If that's actually
That does
true,
Yeah,
suck.
because
we'll have to
Yeah.
wait and see if Bish
I
confirms
don't
that.
know. I don't know if that's true though, because I think he used the words they've taken the suggestion under advisement. But if there has been an outright no, it's not going to happen. That's unfortunate.
I recall that
Because
maybe
That is very
yesterday or so.
unfortunate.
I don't know.
to me it's a bridge to bring people into their full pay system. It's a way to make group flying, make multiplayer flying more appealing and more mainstream, and all that good stuff.
But you know what I will admit
But I
though.
could also understand that if suddenly if 200 pilots come onto the network, all of a sudden you have network saturation issues that you got to scale for, and there's a cost associated with that. So I can understand if he said no, not now, but I wouldn't. I don't understand if he said no, not ever.
I think my problem. Oh, go ahead, Puck.
No, I was just saying I would have. So are you guys saying if PE Global was $5
no
on
ATC.
top?
No
No
ATC.
ATC. Perfect. That's all
Yeah.
I wanted to know, because I could care less about having ATC. I just want a good software / plugin that I'm able to fly with people and not be worried
You
about
need
it
to
crashing.
retract that statement that you don't care about ATC.
Well, I do care about ATC. I love
Okay.
ATC. Love you guys, but
It's the
I don't
number
want to
one
pay
add-on.
40. I don't want to pay $40 a month
Oh wait, no, he's over here.
in order to do that.
Or 19, yeah.
Or 19, or I mean, but if I'm going to do it, I'm going to go for the full thing. It's just, I guess it's one of those things where I don't need, as a IRL pilot, I don't need the ATC, and I actually, like, if I'm going to fly on a sim, I'd kind of rather not have it, except for the minor occasions.
Wow.
And well, here's the thing. I almost think that if PE were able to do like a pay per flight or something like that, I think that would be kind of
Oh,
like
that's actually not a bad
if you
idea.
wanted to pay $2 per flight,
That's
let's say every once in a while, because
no.
when I had the subscription,
It'd be
I
hard to
only
handle that,
flew-
but I like the idea.
That's true. I only flew on or with controllers maybe 2 or 3 times per month. So I was paying $40 per month and only doing 2 or 3
Well,
flights.
that's what I'm saying. You gotta start doing. That's the whole. thing though is that you're not just using them for their low latency, you're using them for their controllers. Like that's the only thing you're literally paying for is the ability to have these paid controllers. It's almost like having a Costco membership and just going to eat the food court there. Like you gotta take
Takes
advantage
your
of the
sim
deals.
to a whole new level. Here's my question to you, Puck. If
Sure.
let's just say the Golden Fairy PE Angel just bestowed upon you a year full coverage, both ZLA and Western US, a full year, 300 and some odd dollars. How often would you fly it with under control on stream? How often?
I mean, I would
or
fly
off
it.
stream?
I'd probably fly it
Half the time, third of the time, 20%
half,
of the time.
probably half the time.
Okay.
During the winter months, I probably fly it more than I would summertime because I haven't flown in a week and a half because of the winter weather. So I think it depends on the year. It depends, or the time of the year. It depends on yada yada yada. I just don't know how to. I think
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain it. I'm not a good example of it because I wouldn't use the ATC as much as some other people would.
Oh, look what Jay
but
Krause has.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Monthly
that
hourly
he
rate.
must be grandfathered in.
Well,
Nice.
here's something that's hard to bite off and chew. And I will completely admit this, and it is so uncomfortable for me to admit, but the subscription service, I cannot stand as a flight sim consumer having to pay subscription services. I do not like that. I like just a one and done deal out the door. You know what I mean? And I guess that you can go, one time payment per year, but at the same time, it's so I don't know. It's not daunting, but it's just like, well, another year, another certain amount of money, right? And of course, we're doing that to Navigraph, we're doing it to Pilot Edge, we're doing it to, whatever else you may have in your sim. But I don't like subscription services, to be honest with you. I just don't. I don't know. Do you guys
Well,
like that?
because at the end of the day, it's a reoccurring revenue, but
exactly.
these things don't exist without reoccurring
Oh, well,
revenue.
no,
So it's
absolutely.
like,
But I'd
yeah,
rather just pay one flat upfront fee and say, hey, look, you look at Pilot Edge, it's $300 a year. You pay $500 out the door for, maybe you want to just do like I don't know, maybe a contract type of deal, like a 2 year, I don't know, something. But, subscriptions, it's hard to bite off and chew. And initially on Navigraph, I was a month to month basis because I just didn't really believe in the concept. And I said, why do I need this? And immediately after like 4 months, I was like, going over to yearly. You know what I mean?
yeah, yep.
Well, and here's another thing that you can think about is what would you constitute as a lifelong subscription?
Yeah.
Do you constitute it as 3 years worth, 4 years worth, 5 years worth? I could tell you what I was doing 5 years ago, and it was not flights. So
Yeah.
if I were to buy something now and move into that, let's use iRacing as an example. I was on iRacing for 7 years concurrent, and then I stopped. I'm pretty much done with iRacing at this point. I'll maybe do it every like month out of a year, or 1 month out of it every year, and that's a subscription that I do not care to pay for because I don't use it. So it's what's a lifelong membership? What would you constitute? Is my question.
I mean, in that regard, you could, let's say you're a business owner, right? And you charge, $400 for a lifetime subscription to said product, right? And then Simmer X purchases your product for 400 or something, whatever just don't, doesn't matter what the dollar amount is. But let's say you use it for only a certain amount of time, right? And they have recurring expenses. Let's say it's a product that calls for recurring expenses, but you only use it for a year, right? They've effectively drawn in more profit than you're getting your money's worth for, right? I've seen a lot of people burn out in flight sim real quick, and people are buying these large subscriptions and they're just burning out. And it's like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? I don't know. People sometimes bite off more than they can chew in the same
Yeah.
regard.
With regard to PE, I do the annual subscription because you do get a discount. But
Yeah.
it's a swallow. Yeah, I have to
Yeah.
go. Oh wow, I just spent $300 or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
No,
I
absolutely.
and I only fly it If you look at my streams, I only fly Pilot Edge maybe 15% of the
No,
time.
we get you at least one flight a stream, maybe.
No, not.
Well, today we suckered you with the
Sometimes he
helicopters we got you
doesn't, but
going.
Under control, it's not half of my streams under control. You take Cirrus Max, and I think it's very rare that he is not on Pilot Edge
Yeah,
on stream, and there's others that are in the same boat. But I will be a Pilot Edge supporter for
me
the
too.
foreseeable future, and I will probably take advantage of that discount going with the yearly rate. But I understand people. It's a I would love nothing more than them to have all this revenue for people that don't want the tower services, but it doesn't look like it's going to
It's
happen
just also a new
anytime soon.
concept, having like,
Yeah.
paying, boom, here's $60 for a plane, as opposed to saying, hey, here's $60, you know, a month, or here's $60 a year for said product, right? We're just used to this one and done transaction. You know what I mean? So it's very weird to have this recurring expense now, at least in my mind. It's
Yeah.
just, it seems very unflight sim like typically. I don't know. Anyway, enough of that sort of baloney. Bish, good night. Thanks for being here. Appreciate you sticking around till 3 a.m. Sleep tight, man.
Yeah.
Thank you for
3
being
a.m.
here. We have some more questions coming on here. Relatively repeat here, in addition to like what we want to see in the future in X-Plane. We kind of touched on that. I think a lot of us were saying weather, different planes, stuff like that. Here's a good one that's kind of more specific. Any thoughts on the Rotate MD-11 being developed, and would I fly it, or would we all fly it? My immediate answer before I let John get into this is hyped and yes. John.
Not a day one buy for me.
Hmm.
You know me. I'm not a fan of Mad Dog in general.
Really?
It has nothing to do with no complaint on Rotate or anything like that. But I will say that I don't like the layout of the cockpit in the MD-80. I don't know how much. I think they still have the McDonnell Douglas philosophy in the MD-11, so it'll be one of those products where I'll sit back and watch you um, for probably 2 or 3 months before I even get close to tackling
No,
it.
I get where you're coming from, because if I was not donated the aircraft, I wouldn't have purchased the Rotate MD-8 either. It's just not my typical cup of tea, and I get it.
It's in your rotation now, though,
Yeah,
so
I flew it
you,
last night and I really
yeah,
enjoyed it.
yeah,
It was a beautiful flight and it's a fun time, but it's only good. It's really typical, but it's only enjoyable once you get to learn it, right? I mean, you go
yeah,
from Boeing 737 to 777, you can still understand the basic concepts of the aircraft, but going
yeah,
from an Airbus or a Boeing to a McDonnell Douglas, you're kind of thrown into the jungle and you're kind of sitting there saying, "Hey, like, what the heck is going on, and why won't the engine start?" Is the big thing.
yeah.
Right? There's so
And
many different switches to throw to get the engines to spool up, and but once you get the understanding of it, it's really
and
a
yeah,
fun
and
fun time.
I
Yeah.
yeah, I hear you, and I will say that you know there I could completely eat my words, and this MD-11 comes out, and I see it, and I'm like, oh, okay, that I can do that.
Yeah.
But a lot of it is it's maybe part of it is intimidation because for the longest time, Brad, I avoided helicopters.
Really.
And
Yeah.
now, did you see me embrace that helicopter
I mean,
stream today?
I couldn't believe it. I was like, I'm home, and I said John Fly. I didn't even get a notification. I said John Fly is live, and I saw NYPD patrol, and I was like, this. I was like, there's no flipping away. So of course I had to take out the Augusta and take it for a spin there and have some fun. And I couldn't believe it because yes, I am a closet helicopter flyer, and
I
I
want
do
that
enjoy.
stream. I want that Brad Helly
I don't
stream
know. It's
sometime
it's the
this
same
year.
concept as it's. I don't know. It's just not like, it's not my traditional stream in a way, and it's not that I don't want to do
Yeah,
it, but it's just kind of like how many people want to watch me fly a helicopter, right? I mean, you can only go so
everyone
far, do so much.
I do.
everyone
I
wants to
do.
watch that.
Yeah,
Your impromptu decision to fly to these Dryzeki airports was gold for me. So thank you for that. It literally was in the last 12 months, it was in the top 3, 4 experiences of flying. You saw the grin on my face. So the reason I bring that up is because I may see this MD-11, and who knows, maybe I'll put up a dono go for it or something. I don't know. Um, and maybe I will have this. Oh, I'm now a fan of MD. All of a sudden, it was just the 80 that I didn't like. Not rotate, but just even in the real world, I'd rather see an Airbus or a Boeing than an MD. But there's that.
You know,
Did you guys
no
question? Did you guys cover this question from Not Puck Vanek?
No, we didn't bother with that. We didn't bother with that one there. But yeah, back on the Helos, it's a fun time. I think actually, speaking of Juvietsky, there's many surprising hidden gems you'll find, John. In addition to that, I've told you this many times, John. Take a peek at his Washington pack. I don't think you own it yet, but it comes with about 4 different airports, and it goes on sale for roughly $15. And also his Seattle pack. I mean, there's at least 4 different fields in each, and you get the
I
one
have the
big
Seattle
one.
pack.
So I assume
Yep.
that you've been to Boeing Field, right?
Yep.
You've been to Payne.
And Renton and Payne.
Okay,
Yep.
all right, that's good. That's good so far.
There's one more, I think.
I think there might be.
Yeah.
Washington has Andrews Air Force Base, an executive, and I think 2 privates,
Yeah.
in addition to DCA, which is just an
Yeah.
invaluable purchase, especially when I head in the East Coast. But yeah, I mean, they're great
That
rendition.
reminds me. Thank you for showing me that shopping mall. That was really
Wasn't that
cool.
so cool? Because one day I was at Newark and I'm looking at it. I'm like, why in the heck is there a Home Depot in my flight
Yeah.
sim? But
Yeah, and it's not a real West W2X plane Home Depot.
yeah,
It's Target and the whole in the
ShopRite, which
parking
is a
lot.
local
Looks
grocery
great.
store. I mean, yeah, he got the
Yeah.
whole thing down, which is super
Yeah.
cool.
So that was fun.
So they were fun airports, as the bottom line, yeah. And we're lucky that we have people doing stuff like that. But again, I like the way he does things, but I also don't. He releases these airports, and he'll give you Newark, Teterboro, and Caldwell in one pack, and then he'll give you JFK, LaGuardia, and Linden in a different one. But I kind of like having a $25 price tag and getting 3 for 1, basically.
Yeah.
It's nice.
The last note on the Helos. Next question. Virus City just brings up a very good point. And he said John was enjoying the Helos so much today that he made us viewers love the stream that much more. It was truly awesome. And I think that for any of you guys out there that are streaming flight simulation, I think that is a key thing. If I see you guys, Brad and Puck, and you're in I see that you're really enjoying yourself. That enhances that stream so much more for the rest of us. So it's a very good point. So thank you for enjoying that with me. There were several people that are like, I wish I was home and I wish I was with you guys right now. So
Iowa Scotsman in particular was very, very eager to get home. But he was already home actually, but he didn't want to get in trouble with the missus for flying the Helos. But
Scotty Bob says I watched John stream Farm Sim and enjoyed it. Yeah,
so
I'm
there's
the same
that.
way.
Yeah.
So that's something I wouldn't really do, but I would definitely enjoy watching it, just to kind of see somebody out of their different comfort zone in a way, and also kind of
Like me with the truck. You watched my truck sim, Brad, and you're like,
yeah,
this is surprisingly interesting.
yeah. Like, look,
Yeah,
I would fly in a plane
that
with
sounds
John, but I
great.
wouldn't drive with him in a truck. Let's put it that way.
There you go. I don't disagree with your feeling on that, for sure.
That's fun. Yeah. But I mean, there's lots of good stuff coming out soon. Of course, even in different realms besides X-Plane. DCS has the F-14 coming out. We're gonna hopefully, stream the fork out of that one pretty soon. That'll be really a fun stream as well. It's a great aircraft.
Glider flight is another question from St. Wolf. Wait for responses. Glider flight. I've flown 2 times a cell plane or glider in the sim. One, I let my dad fly it because he flew a lot of gliders back in the day, and he took it out over Salt Lake City. I myself don't, but I do enjoy watching a glider or sailplane stream from, say, Val Dudes, who flies sometimes over the Utah mountain range here, Wasatch Front. How about you, Puck?
Man, I mean, being a pilot that flies planes with an engine, gliders scare me because the only time I'll be flying a glider is if I lose an engine, so I don't want to think about it. But 1 or 2 times I'd try it. I'd give it a try. Just once, maybe. But
I think the thing that my father said was that the thing that was different between, he flew a Cessna around, but when he was in a glider up really high, it was incredibly quiet, and he loved he's also he owns a sailboat, so he loves to harness the wind and harness use what Mother Nature's given us. Um, but it is,
And
yeah, without a prop, and thermals change, and he did set some altitude records for the region back in the day as well, and some really interesting devices they used to record altitudes. There was this weird graph back in the late 70s and early 80s. I have to study up on it, but it's this graph that draws up your altitude. But yeah, you won't see a glider flight probably this year in X-Plane, but if you're into that, Val dudes certainly can take a viewer request for that, because he does a pretty good job of it. How about you, Brad? We're talking about
I
gliders.
just got back. Um, yeah. Anyway, gliders in terms of like just flying gliders,
Yeah, gliders. That's it.
or
Glider
like when I
flight.
lose
That
the
was the
engine type of
question.
glider deal. If you're talking about just
Either or.
flying gliders, I have never actually personally done it. Of course, maybe in FSX I tinkered with it. It was actually it was reasonable to do. You just boot it up and you got the tow plane going and you were off and on the way. But I didn't understand the concept of flying a glider, so I didn't really ever tinker with it. It seems cool in reality. I mean, even just like hang gliding seems epic. But yeah, I like keeping my flight sim reserved to big jets. I told you guys before, I like doing stuff I can't do IRL. I think flying a glider is something that would be relatively not
Kind of.
difficult, but it's readily accessible, so to speak. Whereas flying a 737 might not be as easy IRL. So type of thing. But yeah, maybe I'm sure once I get bored of jets, maybe one day I'll jump over to the glider side of things, have some fun. So yeah,
will you ever get bored of jets?
no,
Yeah.
you weren't
Hopefully
supposed to
not.
ask that question, Puck.
Well, I mean, it's a true question, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
true.
Okay, give me a one-word answer. Puck, Boeing or Airbus? One-word answer.
And he's proud to be an American.
I mean, it has to be. Yeah, no, Brad's right. It has to be Boeing, but
No, one word.
oh man,
Now,
that's
Brad.
like
Brad,
Yeah,
one word.
Puck, you've exhausted. Oh, sorry, Boeing.
Go ahead, Brad. Yeah, Boeing. Sorry, I
Boeing.
said 2 words.
Yeah, Boeing. I think just I don't know. I mean, you get in the A319, the 320, 321. It's all in the same family, but three different size planes. You get in the 7375, 777. You got completely different cockpits with completely different systems, but they're all in that same family, so to speak,
Well,
right? I guess
yep,
you could just say, "Hey, Brad, what about the 330 and the 340, 350?" Well, yeah, okay, great, but
yep.
come on, we're proud to be Americans. Where at least we know we're free. So
Quickly, so we're all X-plane oriented people. So the question was P3D or X-plane. We're all X-plane biased. We admit that. We try to touch on P3D news. We envy some of the planes over there, but that's that's what we already talked about tonight. Is there any news on the flight simulation category petition? And is there anything we, the community, can do to assist furthering the goal?
I totally even forgot about it up until Rye asked that. Thank you, Rye. We still have to email
good
Twitch.
question.
That's all we have to really do is email Twitch, and I still have just not even done that, which is of course my slacking. So apologies on that,
Yeah,
but I mean
slacker.
that's all we have to do. The work's been done. We just have to see if they can do stuff on there and to make.
Now the fact that back when you started this idea of everything, you didn't have access to the partner help email, and now you do. So that
Yeah,
might that might
would be
be
a
a
huge
better
help.
avenue.
Oh,
But
Hey, Captain,
really, it
Captain, you're
comes.
here. Captain is a Twitch
Captain's
staff
here.
in the
Captain's
chat.
here. Yeah, let's
Captain,
see
we're
it.
gonna have to touch base in a bit, buddy. We got some ideas to shoot off your way, so I may have to whisper you in just a bit there. So we'll definitely send you some more
You gotta
emails. All
you
right.
gotta you gotta acknowledge the wrench right
Yep,
there.
we'll keep
There
you
you
busy.
go.
Don't worry. Make it worth the paycheck. All right.
So yeah, just to sum it up, what we'd love to have everyone is one category for all sims that we all congregate under. That way, we're listed highly in the list when people are browsing for the games out there on Twitch. I think what it comes down to is after we get Twitch to acknowledge this one category in the form of easily findable on your Twitch dashboard as a streamer, the next thing to do is to get people to commit to stream under that category, and that's a difficult thing to do because you have to reach out to all of these thousands of streamers and convince them, hey, this is where we're going. It's an uphill battle, but it's not an impossibility. So.
No, I agree.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
I streamed under the X-Plane 11 category for all January, so and the jury is out for whether or not I go back to the FSX channel um, for February. But yeah, the numbers did take a hit, but I wanted to represent, so
So I think Virus is asking,
we're trying to consolidate.
do you think Twitch will dissolve it? No, the idea is, so the category called flight simulation is already there, but the fact that we as users, viewers, cannot access it. So if I change my category right now to flight simulation, it will show up for you guys, but you cannot go on Twitch and search flight simulation. We would like just kind of one uniformed umbrella uh, category to showcase our flight simulations to you guys, but it's not readily accessible on the consumer end, which is the part
Whereas
that
you
we're
type
having.
in retro games right now, and it is.
Yeah, so again, the work has
So
already been done. The category is there, but it's just not visible to you. Don't ask why. It's just back-end type stuff. But an email could potentially alleviate this and maybe make it, again, so the work is done. All we have to do is make it just so that it pops up when you type it in. That's it.
yeah,
And
Yep.
even Captain likes the idea. So that's perfect.
I
There
love
you
the
go.
idea.
Excellent. If you guys don't mind, Scotty Bob asking me if there's anything I've learned or experienced flying Nico's sim that can apply to flying your sim differently. Now, Scotty Bob, I'll tell you what. All right, hear me out on this one, Scotty. All right, it's no coincidence, but the past 3 landings since coming home from Nico's have been really greasy. All right, what are you rolling your eyes at? I'm looking at you. That's right. Anyway, so Scotty, I'll tell you what. Yeah, it gave me a different sense of. I mean, it felt comfortable, and it's going to sound so cheesy and cheap, but I mean, flying in VR, you have to look up and touch the controls and flip the switches, so it felt very natural, to say the least. I'm very fortunate to be going back there on Saturday. We'll be streaming again, of course, probably all day and all night again. But what I've learned, the biggest takeaway, I think, is probably just the feel of the aircraft. It just, being able to actually understand the way that you move the controls and the impact it has on your aircraft relative to your seat position, right? I mean, I can bank left and know how far I'm banking left while simply looking down and dialing the radio. That's just the most invaluable tool. It's almost like having 2 different sets of eyes, one watching the PFD, one watching your radio stack. Just having that feel. Of course, it doesn't truly emulate being in a moving aircraft, but it's the closest thing you can possibly get without being in one. And it's just the neatest. It was so much fun, and I had a blast. Absolute blast.
We've started a trend here by not using the form because we answered a question in chat, so we got
Yes,
to be a
that's
little
true.
bit careful there. But
Hey guys, here's the
I
link
will
once again for you guys to ask questions. just
I
so you know.
will just answer just a couple here. Max, just going backwards one topic. He's asking how would you get the word out to flight streamers? I think ultimately it'll be just in Discords and also in their chat saying,
Yeah,
hey, can you check out this website when you're done with your stream? And then that website would probably say, we are trying to unite and this is why and who's signed on and da 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 da. It's probably going to be as simple as that. Hey, would you mind checking out this website in your stream? Just people out there propagating the word. And then the last question here in the chat before we go back to the forum for a second. Virus asked if I've been in the Nico's sim, and yes, we did a stream from Nico's sim. It was probably less than a year ago that I was fortunate to be in the Delta 213 full motion, and like Brad said, it was just mind blowing. And I hope to. There's rumors that we may be going back there this spring, maybe in end of March, but it's a phenomenal experience, and what an asset we have to the community to offer many of us. Brad was in there, Max was in there, and Chili as well. So
yeah. It's one of a kind because you're not there for a company. You're there with a friend. You're having a good time. You look at him and you say, "Where are we going?" He's like, "I got the perfect idea," and you just go. I didn't know where I was flying. He didn't tell me I was flying the Kai Tak. I just booted up in Guangzou. And next thing you know, I'm doing the
yeah, you
approach
did.
into Kai Tak.
You
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 know?
actually beat me on your first landing too.
Yeah.
By
So
the
the
way.
fact that there's no obligation, you're just kind of,
Speak of the
at
devil.
the will. Nico's here? Nice. So it's just fun in that regard because you're not there for training or to score. some high rating on your, your type rating, or just to keep current. You're just there to have fun and hang out with your friend, and that's what
And
brings on that relaxed environment.
and the fact that you're invited back for Saturday, Nico obviously approves of you. So, well
Yeah.
done.
I'm in.
Well
Sweet.
done.
Yeah, it was a fun time. It was a fun time indeed. But anyway, yeah, back to the questions here. Do we have some more to get to here?
What are
Um,
you guys most look forward to in 2019?
Oh man.
It's a
Expo.
Expo.
Stuff like that.
Expo.
Expo. Yeah, I didn't even didn't even think about that. Expo. If you allow me to plug it, I guess it won't be allowed anyway. But I don't know. We're organizing a massive group dinner on Saturday night at the FS Expo.
Y'all best be there.
Best be there. Maybe like 7 p.m. on Saturday night. We're doing a big group dinner. Literally anybody can come. Bring your friends, bring your families over at the Yard House in Orlando. It's going to be a fun time. I promise you that. So come on, stop by. It's for everybody to attend, and just to put faces to names and have fun and hang out and have a couple of cold beverages and some really hot food, spicy.
We have to
obviously.
ban questions in the chat, by the way, for right now.
Even you, Max. I'll even allow you. I know it's kind of weird. I don't let New Yorkers typically hang out with me, but I'll make an exception. All right, make an exception. So yeah, the Expo is a big
What's
2019 thing.
what's our time looking like, guys? Just out of curiosity.
20,
I don't know, a
25.
few more questions. Yeah.
A little bit more time if Puck, that's okay with you. Maybe 10:30. We'll
A few
cap
more
it out
questions. Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
This is for I guess you guys. I guess all three of us. Verity says, "Love these more than anything. We're all looking beautiful tonight. Thanks, Verity."
Thank you, Verity.
What's your opinion on PE realism being transferred to different frequency with the same old controller? I saw no problem with it. A lot of controllers sound a lot alike IRL, anyways. So I see no issue.
One thing that you'll find is that you're fine with it. You get used to it, right? The fact that you do have the different frequencies, I'm okay with the same voice. But I will say this: when Pilot Edge has an event, a group event, which Pilot Edge, if you're listening, get back on the group events. They were on the monthly schedule. Get them back on. Otherwise, there have to be more impromptu group flights that are unofficial. But when you're on an officially endorsed group flight event with Pilot Edge and they're fully staffed, and you have a different guy for clearance, ground, tower, departure, center, and then you may have 7 or 8 different controllers on frequency.
That's cool.
The common theme of the night amongst those of us on the network are, I love the fact that we had multiple controllers that during the event, right? So it does add to the experience. But I, as a longtime Pilot Edge user, am okay with the same voice. I just pretend it's someone different in my mind, but we know it's not. I'll say see ya to Marcus, and then I'll say hello to Marcus.
Yeah, the same regard. Even Torb here is saying they do a great job pulling off their persona, and in some regard, it is an act in that way, because you're saying goodbye and you're sounding relatively sincere, but knowing you're going to talk to the same person. So in some regard, to me, it's comforting knowing they know what I'm doing, what I have been doing, and what needs to happen next. Because if I get passed off from AJ to Eugene, he's kind of like, hey, where are you at? What are you doing? Should I start, putting you down and, getting you descending, right? Type of deal. But, in the same regard, I also kind of get confused. Last night, it was actually the opposite. I had Eugene for a while, and the next thing you know, over to AJ. And it was kind of just like an abrupt transition on the same frequency. And I'm wondering, hey, does AJ know what I'm doing, where I'm at? And, did he just pop on? Is he situationally aware of the entire airspace outside ZLA type of deal? So I enjoy it because I'm like, hey, I'm having fun with the controller. I change frequencies and I'm right back to it. But of course, that's what flightsim offers, is the ability, to have a different person on, approach center if they're staffed, which of course we can get into many arguments of, how their staffing works. And I've had many times where I'll we're doing a group flight and next thing you know, everybody and their brother suddenly pops online and it's just like,
Yeah, I like the fact that sometimes they will act the role, they'll play the part. I appreciate it when they say I'll pass that on. Or they need to, they're trying to keep it real. But and here's another funny thing that happens is when I fly out of ZLA into the Western US network area and I think I'm going to get the same controller and I
Yes, and you
don't,
don't?
and
Yeah.
then I don't say goodbye to that one before, I
Yes.
feel guilty.
Yes.
I'm like, oh,
Yes.
I didn't
Oh
know
my
that I
God.
was
Yeah,
going.
because you're like yeah. See, you're like
See ya.
26.6. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're like
yeah, yeah,
26.6, 258, whatever.
yeah,
Right. And next thing
yeah.
you know, you're like, wait, I gotta revert. I gotta go back and say bye real quick
I,
because I
I
because I
gotta go
had this
back and
dude for an
see
hour and
him.
a half. Right. Oh my God, that's so funny,
Yeah,
John. I can't believe you. I feel that same way because yeah, I felt that. I'm like,
yeah,
dude, poor Tobe,
yeah,
just left him in the dust, and yeah,
yeah. But yeah,
that's
bring
funny.
back the events to give us those different levels. But in the meantime, I'm just happy that we have guaranteed coverage from X hour to X hour. So anyway,
No,
great
absolutely, yeah.
question.
That's phenomenal because when you log on at whatever it might be, is it like 11 a.m. Eastern time or so. You know,
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
hey, you've got they're there waiting for you.
yeah.
They're there waiting for you.
We're kind of staying on the PE train with this one. I don't mind that at all. First impression of flying on PE. I know that you're relatively new to it, Brad, and Puck. You did it, in recent months. I started a couple of years ago, and my first impression was um, I was scared to death. I had Keith Smith on the radio at John Wayne, and I had never transmitted on Pilot Edge before, and I was doing what was called the V1 rating. All I was doing was pattern work, and I was scared to death. And I passed the V1, and it was all downhill from there. So, what was your first impression, Brad?
I gotta tell you what, I had Geneva for my first ever flight, San Diego to LAS, and like I don't know why I've heard her voice on many different streams. I just felt like comforted in a way. I'm like, okay, like I know her demeanor. She's very calm, very professional, and very, helpful. And I said, like, okay, I'm in good hands for my first flight. I know I'm in good shape. And without a doubt, that flight went flawlessly. Flawlessly. Now, on the opposing end, I've also flown into Las Vegas when I've had Keith Smith controlling. And on top
Mm.
of that, I've had Cirrus Max, role playing as Ops 3. And at that time, you can't see it because I have, you know, industrial
Yeah,
grade deodorant, but I'm currently sweating, knowing, hey,
yeah.
Max might shut down my runway, and I have Keith who might just, just
Play
rip me a new
along.
one.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we've had situations where, I mean, I've been super crazy comfortable, and it's just been the most. I mean, my first impression though for that first flight was, yeah, this is gonna be it. This is amazing, and it all honestly was because of her. Because I've
Yeah,
just from hearing her in other streams, I knew I'm in good
yeah,
hands. This will be an
yeah.
awesome flight, and it was. And of course, you guys also made it fun flying with me. That's the best part is having people fly with you on Pilot Edge, on
With
stream.
you.
It makes it just the best experience ever.
Hmm.
It's a fun time. Love it. Yeah. Puck,
I don't
first
know.
impression.
So first impressions of it, it like how do I explain it? It felt normal, but it also felt really weird. To like be able to talk to all these people and to actually be very professional, unlike some of the stuff on VATSIM. I actually felt like I was held to a higher standard. I felt like I was held to a higher standard than IRL
Real world.
flying.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
And
Which is the intention.
yeah, of course. And it's training software, so I mean they expect mistakes, but like doing it on stream, everybody knowing, oh, you're an instrument rated pilot, you know everything, like you know what to do. I didn't know jack when I first started on PE, and I think the 2 weeks that I did it, and then the 2 months afterwards, I think I learned way more in those 2.5 months than I did throughout my entire instrument training. So I think it really helped. But it was also like pat down the armpits because it's a little
Yeah,
stressful.
sometimes it
But
can get like that, but yeah. I've had moments where, I log on, I call for clearance, and they're like, good to see you, Brad. And I'm this new to the network, and they're like, "Good to see you, Brad." And I'm like, this is nice. This is comforting. I mean, you have friends on the other end that are there to help you and guide you along, and they're not there to just yell at you and make your flight agony. So it's fun. But I guess, guys, if you're considering PE, if you meet the requirements in terms of the age and their restrictions, all you need is a email to sign up. No credit card required. You get a 2-week trial. It's a fun time. Come fly with us. As long as you understand the rules, regulations, and how the network works, I urge you to do so. It is a blast. And yeah, there's nothing quite like it, to be honest there. It's a good time. Tech, dude, you would be perfect on PE. We would love to have you there. Yeah, it's Bill. It sucked me right in like a black hole. You wouldn't even understand. Even if Max, very fortunate that Cirrus Max funded my first 2 months on the network. Even if he didn't, and he was just like, Brad, just do it. Just man up and do the two-week trial. I would still be sitting here. You know, I'm now a paying customer, right? But
Lame.
I'm saying
Would
that
have still been
it
giving
sucked
me.
me right in. You know what I mean? Like every first or second flight on my stream are both on PE for that reason. I just love, you know, we're as much company to these controllers as they are to us in some regard. So you know, it's nice. It's a fun time. It is a fun time. Zuvus, yeah, you can't lie about your age, dude. That is not the right thing to do. That is definitely not the right thing to do. Absolutely not.
Not the right
Absolutely not.
thing.
Yeah.
Major buzzkill.
What's up, Mr. Digi Driver? We have time for a few more questions, guys. Are we still good for a couple of more, or what do you think?
I think so.
John?
How many questions do we have
They're
loaded?
they're
I'm
still
good for a
stacking up, but
couple
we got
more,
a couple
yeah.
more coming in here. Rigorian, any chance of a GSA group flight? A possibly
That's
GSA
good.
mass multi-stream as well. A massive GSA group flight. That would be just epic. That would be epic.
Would you guys be open to the possibility of a Teterboro GSA controlled? Seriously, I'm
why
not
do you
kidding.
pick Teterboro? Is my question. Is it because we went there today?
Because I've flown on Teterboro with pilot edge control.
Elaborate.
So several of us had the opportunity and were invited to fly into and out of Teterboro with pilot edge controllers in conjunction with a commercial client who wanted basically pilot edge wanted immersion or other people in the pattern and in the general area. So pilot edge actually trained up and got the SOP down for the event, and we flew on the East Coast. So I'm thinking that the procedures are there. It's just a matter of us going to PE and saying, listen, the Global Sim Alliance would love to have a Teterboro event multi-stream group flight. It's possible.
Absolutely, yeah. I think that.
Yeah,
we have enough.
but if not there, obviously somewhere in ZLA or whatever, I would love that idea.
I still think that Cirrus Max's unofficial group flight into St. Bart's was among my
Off the
top
charts.
streams. I mean, hey, we're still pretty young here in 2019, but
Yep.
I mean, that was a awesome time. I mean, who ended up controlling that? Didn't somebody do an impromptu control
Was
of
it Ninja?
I forgot who it was. Somebody
I think
went
it
on
was
there
Ninja.
and was controlling St. Bart's. It was a good time, and I can't wait
Yeah,
for Lukla.
and
We got Lukla
Lukla,
coming up. Yeah, so
yeah.
I'm gonna be there for sure. You bet your bottom dollar. But I mean, that's what we strive for. I think when all of us stream, all three of us now at least, we live for the group flights. I mean, we
Love 'em.
we live for it. Like the more
Yeah.
you guys come out and fly with us, like flight sim should be enjoyed with company virtually.
And
There is no regard.
your hybrid of FS Cloud and Pilot Edge is working okay? No issue?
Yeah, which of course I have to, of course, give credit to Chili Willy's for that one because I saw him doing that at first, and I was like, "There's no possible way it works, right?" And sure enough, it does. And the only caveat is on FS Cloud you don't see gear, so that's the only thing. But then again, I would rather have the PE HD CSLs show than the gear show on the FS Cloud stuff. But running both at once, again, catering to both, two different types of sim users is invaluable, and it's super fun, and it still gives everybody a chance to fly, regardless of your.
Correction, it was Bill Forelli.
Oh, it's Bill.
who was
Nice.
doing the control, not Ninja. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a good time. We look forward to the next one.
Absolutely. I literally cannot wait. That was. I think Max got in a bit of trouble for that one, but it's okay as long as the blame is on Max. That's okay with me at that point. I'm okay with that.
Oh jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Any last questions?
yeah, guys, wrapping it up here. So get your last questions in there. Nice, Max.
I guess we
Yeah.
can answer them in chat potentially.
Yeah, if you have any questions in the chat, don't be afraid to pop them off there as well. Well, we have a couple of minutes here to get everything figured out. So
Max says that Keith won't do that. I don't know about that. I think the right monetary incentive may bring about all kinds of weird sorcery.
I think what it sounds like is John is authorizing me to expense a GSA dinner on behalf of the rest of the team. I'm gonna go take Keith out
Bribery works.
to Ruth's
Yeah.
Chris, and I'm gonna go up to Keith. I'm
Yeah.
gonna pick him up at 8. We'll go out to Ruth's Chris. We'll
Yeah.
have a couple of beautiful porterhouses and a couple glasses of wine. We'll be good to go.
Yeah.
It'll be a good time.
Yeah, I think we should do two things. I think we should do a Global Sim Alliance group flight, and it should be on PE under coverage, and we should all stream it, of course.
Yeah.
But the second thing that I wouldn't mind doing also is one day we could even get Bill or others to do mock control for us outside of coverage area. And be serious about it. It's not out of the realm of possibility to have an annual event where we have, Omaha approach online.
So do you think they're actually going to expand further east at all? I actually mentioned that yesterday in my stream, and somebody said they don't think they're going to expand any further east than they already are. And I said based on the map, it feels like they are.
This is my feeling. As we grow, we're seeing the growth in the Twitch stream channels, right? There's a direct correlation between flight simulation growing as a result of YouTube and Twitch. Therefore, more people are finding out about Pilot Edge. I think the numbers are going to continue to grow, and it all comes down to the amount of money that they have to put into the staffing and resource. But I would say right now, when the fact is that the subscriber base apparently isn't enough for events to happen every month, they probably need to stabilize before they do any expansion. Get the events back on track, and build that subscriber base up, and then we could see expansion. But it's great that we have a lot more than we used to. That's for sure. And I will say, again, I'll say it again, Pilot Edge is the #1 add-on for any sim.
Yeah, absolutely,
including DCS.
Well, I don't actually. I looked at their website. I don't think they actually support DCS officially anymore. They do still support FS 2004, but no longer DCS. But I'm sure if you make an email to management, they'll perhaps allow you to fly the TACAN approach to Nellis or something like something fun like that.
P3D or X-Plane, it's your #1 add-on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Puck disagrees with me, but
what? What do I disagree with?
That it's the PE is the #1 add-on for any sim.
Oh, I don't disagree with that. Oh, absolutely not. I think it's great, but I just can't. I can't see paying the amount of money.
Yeah. I mean, for any sim, it's tough. Like, because again, for the longest time, I didn't care about ATC. So I mean, like, the biggest thing for me was still planes and stuff like that. I don't know. That's just
okay. We got to make this the last question.
Yeah,
if you don't mind.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure.
So, anyone excited for the Q400?
Oh my God!
Holy moly! I think these are just, again, guys, come on, low-hanging fruit in front of us here. I mean, jeez, why don't you ask me if I like pizza? I mean, seriously, we're
or air to breathe.
We all love it. I mean, dude, that's gonna be that might be my highlight of 2019. Sans the Expo, and I can't wait to see in June what they have to show. Of course, Val's already texturing it, and Jack is still just kicking arse working on it. So it's going to be a fantastic expo to just see what they have for us. So
you know what, I'll go out on a limb here and say that it might not be a release this year. Just don't know, and that's the beauty of any. I'd love for it to be a release this year, but I will say that any FlyJ Sim doesn't release until it is ready, until it is fully baked, ready. So it could be a 2020 release. Don't be surprised if that's not a possibility, but we will be excited to see the progress, and we're lucky to see the development streams. But and watch out Majestic, right? Majestic Q400 is an amazing simulation, amazing systems, and it is the benchmark, and let's pray that the Q4 XP matches or exceeds that. So
Yeah,
too bad a Q400 couldn't just fly in on cue right there.
I know
Right
that was
away.
a beautiful. Look at that! Look at that landing right there. Look at that! Look
Yeah.
how epic that is.
The
Wow.
second part to the question is a CS 100. I too want a Bombardier CS simulation, and I don't know if it's on anyone's radar. If it is, we talked about it the other day. Having access to a plane to make it proper, it might be a little difficult. They're not the most common right now, but boy, I would love
Yeah,
one. They're
I
so
agree with that.
sexy.
There's definitely a nice looking plane, but I think it's just the accessibility is the big problem. I mean, we know that
Yeah.
Jack has a bunch of guys that work on Q4s that give him the pictures and the data and stuff like that, which is fantastic. So, but I think the CS
Yeah.
might be a bit more of a challenge in that
Yep.
regard. I don't know how it seems to me.
Yep.
It'll take a while for the CS.
Yeah, I'm okay with
Yep.
that. I mean, hey, I'm not gonna lose
Well.
any sleep over it.
Yep.
So
We have
yeah,
plenty of planes to fly.
yes, you bet. Well,
Yeah,
about
I think that's
that about wraps it up for us over here in the PB&J show this evening, guys. So that was awesome questions. Thank you so much for all the questions and all the comments and for hanging out with us tonight. That was a fun time as well. We don't have a firm date just yet on the next episode, but it sounds like from the likes of it, it will be a following Sunday. It's now a Wednesday, so perhaps another Sunday, maybe like next Sunday, not of course the Super Bowl Sunday, but the one after that. Potentially, we'll figure it out for you guys. We'll get you notified in our own Discords and Twitch channels and stuff like that. But yeah, it was a good time. So
Yeah.
thanks for
I
being here. Thanks
appreciate
for
it.
hanging out.
Where can they find you, Puck?
twitch.tv/PuckVanic.
There you go.
John,
you
where
go.
can they find you?
Yeah, twitch.tv/JohnFly. So we're glad to be here. And you can find Brad on twitch.tv/BradM.
Forget it. You're
I know
already
that's-
here. All right.
I know.
You're
Well,
already here.
the YouTube crowd hasn't quite been here, so
Yeah.
come over from YouTube, please, because you have a whole universe of Twitchians that would love to interact and meet you. So,
Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. But thank you guys once again for being here. This was just a fun night as usual, making Wednesday feel like a Friday, which is the best thing ever. So thank you very much. We all appreciate it. I'm sure we'll see you on our own respective streams very soon. When you guys going live next? Quick
tomorrow
last
morning.
minute. Tomorrow morning for John Puck.
Yep.
I don't even know. Too busy.
Doesn't even know. Tomorrow night for me. So we'll see you, Puck, maybe next year. John tomorrow
Yeah,
morning. And
probably.
myself tomorrow evening, guys. Look at that beautiful.
Ooh, hate to
That's
say
the
this,
landing of the
Brad,
year
but-
right there. Look at
That
that.
looks
Yeah.
awesome.
That's
Perfect.
good.
Time to jet.
Yeah.
By the way, Brad, time to jet.
All right. Sounds good.
It's time to
Guys,
jet.
thank you once again. Happy Wednesday evening, Thursday morning, wherever you're from right now. Thanks for being here. Good night, goodbye, and take care.